Wow, awesome. Okay, welcome to King in Yellow. This is an amazing game from Pelgrane Press, and we're going to be playing Doors to Heaven, which was a free RPG day scenario, I think back in 2019. But it's going to be a lot of fun. We have four players, and the game is an investigative game, and it's very dependent upon the team having all of the appropriate skills. So the scenario comes with six pre-gens, but since we have four players, I need to redistribute some of the missing skills that are on those other characters and get them into the characters who are in play. So let's finish that real quick. Culture. If Sandy Van Steen, Lance, if your character, add culture to your investigative abilities. Landscape painter Leigh Barnett for Brad, if you would add history to yours. And then let's have Roger Ainsley Stanfield add reassurance to her, and then finally research. Let's give research to Leigh Barnett. Research, Brad. And that will take care of all of the skills that we need. So in the King in Yellow role-playing game, it's an investigative horror game, and one of the things that this game does as a tentpole, is the investigators will never miss a clue. It will be impossible for you to not collect clues because you're just going to get them. It's how do you choose to interpret that clue you think that clue should lead you to. That is up to the players. So I'm not going to be leading you by the nose through this scenario, but I'm just going to be giving you the clues. And that's why your investigative abilities, they do not have any skill points to them, because you don't ever have to roll a die when you're using an investigative ability. You just have to be in the right place, have the right skill, and boom, you'll get it. And in the beginning, I may say things like, the character who has officialdom, which in this case would be our architect student, Ainsley Stanfield. Due to officialdom, you realize that there's a recent ordinance that says doing that thing, or that the thing that person is doing, is illegal, that kind of thing. And I'll just give it out to you. But as we start to play, I encourage the players to be inquisitive and say, hey, in this situation, could I use this skill to check for something? And the answer most likely will be yes. And I will help you collect clues like that. So you don't have to wait for me to give them to you. If you want to ask, hey, can I use this skill for something? Absolutely. And that's why your investigative abilities do not have skill points in them. What your investigative abilities do have are pushes. And everybody starts with 2 pushes. And so there might be something like, using the officialdom as an example again, is if your characters wanted to, for some reason, go into City Hall and acquire some records from City Hall. Now, that's not something that any, Joe can do. They can't just walk into City Hall and ask to see some important papers. But if the character with the officialdom skill spends one of his pushes, you know somebody. Maybe you know the clerk who's in there. They owe you a favor. And so, kind of on the down low, they slip you that information. So you are able to do, extra bonus things with your pushes. And there may be situations where you say, hey, can I use a push with this skill to do this thing? And if it would be pointless to do that, I will tell you, and you won't be spending your pushes frivolously, okay? So don't be afraid to say, hey, can I do a push for this, right? And you never know. I might say yes. But then you have general abilities. Now, general abilities, they do have skill points. And you'll see that everybody has the exact same list of general abilities. We just have different skill points in those abilities. When you use a general ability, We would use general abilities if the opportunity for failure could be interesting. Maybe jumping from one rooftop to a different rooftop, that would be an athletics ability. And could be interesting if you fail that jump and you fall, 2 stories to the alleyway below. Or maybe you're going to fall into a dumpster or something, right? So in that situation, I would ask you to make an athletics test. I will never tell you what the target number is that you need to make, but in general, the target number is going to be a 4. But depending upon the situation, it might be more difficult, meaning it's a 5 or a 6, or it could be as high as an 8 being the target number if it's a truly difficult task. But sometimes tasks are super easy. It might be a 3 or a 2, or it might be so easy I would never even have you roll. But when it comes to doing a general ability, and you do have pool points for each of your general abilities, you need to tell me how many points are you spending, and you must tell me before you roll the die. You cannot modify the die after it has been rolled. So you might say, well, to jump across this roof, it looks a little scary. I'm going to spend 2 of my athletic points, roll the 1d6 die that we use in the game, and whatever the die roll is, you'll take the points that you spent and modify your die roll. That becomes your final result. If it is equal to or greater than the target number, you were successful. And I will tell you whether you were successful or not. And that's how you have your investigative abilities and your general abilities. This game does not have hit points. This game does not have sanity points. What it does have instead is it has shock cards and injury cards. And I have digital copies of these cards. And so, as your character gets physically injured, you will receive certain physical injury cards. As your character receives mental injuries, you'll receive certain shock cards. If at any point your character is in possession of 3 physical or 3 mental cards, your character is out. Either you're dead because you've taken 3 injuries, or you're insane because you've taken 3 shock. And the cards will be self-explanatory, where you might be able to turn them in and get rid of them later. So it's possible to survive. It's also possible to have a full count of 2 and 2, and you're really on the brink, right? You're really on the edge then. So, and we'll cover combat when we get into it. But combat is a lot of fun and pretty streamlined, and I think you guys will enjoy it. So, it is Paris, 1895. Paris is the cultural center of the world, and this city is truly a 24-hour town. The city is alive at all hours of the day and the night. You are all Americans who are from wealthy or at least well-to-do families, and you are studying abroad. You're studying art in Paris. What could be more perfect than to be studying art in Paris, the center of culture? In your time here in Paris, you have started to hear about a strange play. People are talking about a stage play known as The King in Yellow. And you've heard about it. You haven't seen a production of it. In fact, you don't know of anyone who has seen a production of it. But you have a feeling like maybe in some strange way, in a way that you don't remember, you might be responsible in some small way for the creation of that strange manuscript. It's very odd. Each of your characters, and I encourage the players to quickly look at your character sheet. You do have a section on your character sheet that says, "That deuced peculiar business." And that damn peculiar business, something odd has been happening to you personally. and you have, as of yet, you haven't told anyone about it because the thing is so odd. Your personal experience is so odd. You don't know if is it a dream? Have you been, drinking absinthe to the point where you're having hallucinations? Are these things that I'm experiencing, is it real? Is it is it my mind playing tricks on me? And so as of yet, you haven't told anybody about this strangeness that's going on in your life, but you know, if you feel like telling anybody, you certainly may at any time. So before I actually raise the curtain and we begin this play, does anyone have any questions about mechanics or your character or anything that I can help answer before we get started? Everyone looks pretty good, right? All right. This will unfold very well. I'm positive. Okay. So, it is it is Paris. And you are the four of you are enjoying some drink and a light meal at a cafe. Um, the Le Foie Gras. So you're all sitting at the Le Foie Gras on the main avenue here, and just you're just enjoying the people watching. People watching is a very popular pastime. People will go and just wear their best and finest clothing and just kind of stroll the avenues so that they can be seen and so that they can see others. And it's a very chic kind of social activity. Um, and of course, it's absolutely perfect and beautiful for all of the young people of Paris, of which you are all a part of. So let's raise the curtain and join our players around this bistro table as they enjoy wine and cheese and breads. So I'd like to go around the table and please just kind of introduce yourself to our audience and tell us a little bit about your character, anything that you feel like telling, and we'll go around. So let's begin with Ainsley. Ainsley, please tell us a little bit about yourself.
Ainsley Stanfield, uh, born and raised in New York City, but has now been sent off to Paris to study architecture. She's quite fastidious, likes to keep everything neat and tidy and orderly. Has her, has her portfolio with her architectural drawings and a sketchbook, and has her pencils in a nice case that are neatly arranged by weight and size, and just always very put together. Hair's always kind of perfectly coiffed, and makeup's applied to perfection, um, and kind of looks down on anybody that seems a little shabby or unkempt.
Mm, yes, ruffians. Ugh.
Yes.
Gutter snipes, terrible. So let's learn a little bit more now about Leigh Barnett.
Hey, can everyone hear me okay? Great.
Roger.
So, Leigh, a young woman, American, she is a landscape painter. In the time that you spent with Leigh, you found her to be um, more practical, not so much into idle talk. And as an artist, she definitely tends toward the perhaps shabby chic rather than the chic. So that probably has not escaped your eye. I'm curious if it has escaped your commentary. So perhaps we'll see.
Hmm.
So
Very interesting. Very interesting. I like that. I like that, Leigh. All right. Let's learn a little bit about Sandy.
is Sandy Lancifer? Lancefer, I'm showing you muted. Can you unmute?
I don't see him muted.
On the
Might
stream.
be on your end.
I'm not looking at the stream.
Let me see if I can force it.
How do we fix that?
Hey, Lancefer, you're on. Welcome
All
to
right.
the party.
All right. Yep. Sorry about that. All right.
All right.
So yeah. Sandy Van Steen, a sculptor, kind of a bigger guy. Sculpts, works with his hands. Physical. A bit of a thrill seeker. He's got a sweet mustache. Hasn't worked out the beard yet, but he's got the cool mustache. He's just kind of a basically like new money, not super cultured, bit of a cad, like not afraid to get in a scrap. Kind of started out a little rough, and then came into money, and now trying to run in these circles that he's unfamiliar in.
Very interesting. I like that. Strong dude. All right, and finally, let's learn a little bit about Dorian.
Yes, my name is Dorian Purr. I'm a poet from our dear old country of the good old USA, though I've been taking a liking to this one. I have to say though, as a practitioner and also a lover of Voltaire, I have to say, it has unpacked me. I seek now to protect others from the tyranny either of government or of others. Let's seek a glory and try to protect one another.
I like it.
Dorian
Always,
picked up the accent of the Parisians.
Very quickly, yes. And well done at that.
National parrot.
Awesome. So you guys are all at this cafe and enjoying a drink and light meal. And there's a very large crowd, as always, of just people bustling and moving about. Not in a big hurry, per se. Strolling, getting places, because it's the journey. It's not the destination. And so you guys are together. What would you guys like to talk about?
So, I don't know if you've been wandering about a bit inside of the Paris, but have you seen that new theater show on the Moulin Rouge? Sandy.
What is that?
Oh, it's a new type of dance. It's called the cancan. It's try a little bit there's a little bit of debauchery with it, but it's really interesting.
Can? What does that even mean?
I do not know, but I assure you, it's a delight to watch.
Well, we should go. Maybe we could all go together.
Though I had have to ask for your entry, since from what I recall, you need to have certain permission, as it is a gentleman club first.
Sounds like a tawdry and savage place.
Sounds like my cup of tea.
Dorian, what are you getting us into?
I'm only trying to bring you more into the Parisian lifestyle.
All right. When in Rome, right?
Well, I'm game if you ladies are.
Judgment. Last judgment shall befall you. The doors of the last judgment. Black stars, white sky. Judgment befalls you. As you guys are talking, there seems to be some kind of crowd nearby, and somebody is kind of pushing their way through the crowd, yelling above the general rumble of conversation that kind of fills the air. As this voice, in a maddening way, keeps spiking out, "Judgment! No, the doors of last judgment befall you all! Black sky, white sky, black stars!"
Did he say white sky, black stars?
I think that's what he said.
And then bursting through the crowd, you guys recognize the madman who's yelling, and he's clutching at different people, grabbing at their coats and bags, and they're all like, "Oh, no, get away from me, you ruffian heathen!" And the person is in filth, dressed filthily, and just looks awful. And clothing is torn, and he's like clutching at people in mad wide eyes, and all of you go, "Oh my God, it's Calvin. It's Calvin Leith." And you guys recall about 3 weeks ago, Calvin, who is an American, a fellow art student, in fact, Ainsley, Calvin is a fellow architect. And about 3 weeks ago, he just stopped coming to class. Now, for Americans in Paris, especially art students, disappearances, while not commonplace, are also not unheard of. There have been many instances of parents going, "We're out of money. You're done. Come home now. You have to work in the factory."
Yeah.
Yes.
Disappear back home.
And so, exactly. Yoink! And they've been hoisted back to the house. And so, when Calvin, kind of stopped showing up for class, that was the default assumption, is that, dude got called back to the home. He's probably working in a coal mine or something somewhere. But apparently he hasn't left Paris, because there he is, raving like a lunatic.
And whose friend? He was friends with
He was a fellow architecture student.
Not,
Ainsley.
yeah, I mean, fellow student, but not a close. You guys are close friends. But Calvin, Ainsley knows who Calvin is. You guys are maybe passively aware of who Calvin is. You've had a couple of, Ainsley's probably had a couple of, in-class conversations with Calvin, but he's not someone that you guys have ever, hung out with and done any social activities with.
Yeah, that fellow looks familiar.
He does.
That's Calvin.
Maybe he has Calvin?
No, it can't be. That's some filthy street bum.
That's Calvin Leith. What he's saying about the
Judgment upon you. White sky, black stars.
And so my eyes get really big, and I just turn pale when he says that, and I'm just staring at him, and I recognize that I'm telling you it's Calvin, and something's like funny over my visage.
What's wrong with you? Like what happened? What?
Do you go up to him?
I
was talking to him.
Yeah, I'm not
Okay.
moving. I'm flabbergasted and stunned, stupefied.
Yeah, Barnett. I was talking to Barnett. Barnett, are you all right? Buddy, are you okay?
He's. I can't talk about it, but I think we need to talk. I think we need to talk to him.
The doors to Last Judgment.
Not in that case. Mr. Calvin!
And he sees you guys, and he sees there's a flicker of recognition, and he makes a sprint directly at Ainsley, and goes and he falls to his knees and is clutching at the hem of Ainsley's dress and is pulling on it. Ainsley, you're afraid he might actually try and pull this dress off you, but he's pulling you and trying to pull you down to the ground with him.
I'll kind of try to pull myself away from him. No, Calvin, you're talking madness. You've clearly had too much to drink or something.
Hold on.
Stop that this instant.
I get off of my chair and
Foam-
I try to pull him on it so he can sit down.
Foam is flecking from his lips as Dorian is picking him up and putting him into his chair, and he's looking right into Ainsley's face and says, "The door's to the last judgment." And as he says that, that triggers your art history, Ainsley, and you the actual term "last judgment" in Paris, that could be a reference to Notre Dame and how above the central door of the western facade is a mural portraying, and that mural is titled Last Judgment, and it portrays sinners being led into hell and Christians up into heaven.
He's lost his mind.
He's clearly seen the mural at Notre Dame. Perhaps he got into some trouble over there. He's talking like a mad person.
Perhaps he's on the absinthe.
Maybe that, or it might be some of those exotic floral things from Asia. I think it was called opium or something. Never that I ever took some such a thing.
Leigh Barnett. You look him over, and your aptitude with natural history leads you to believe that there doesn't seem to be, while these are good theories, it doesn't seem to be anything medically wrong with him. So he doesn't seem to be under the influence of drugs. It looks like he's just been pushing himself. It looks like someone who is been sleep deprivation. He hasn't slept in days. He's been sleep deprived, and he just looks like he's on his last nerve, and just utterly exhausted.
Calvin, I sort of come to myself. I come over, Ever the practical gal, and sort of kneel down and try to get him to let go of the skirt, and it's okay, it's us. Remember us from university. What's wrong? Other than what you already said. How can we help you?
And he goes, "Black stars," and you can see his eyes roll up into his head, and his body goes slack.
What about the black stars? What about the white sky? Is there a lake? Is there a sinister black lake?
I'll make a motion to the waiter for someone to call an ambulance or something for the guy.
Yeah. Is there a doctor?
Yeah, the waiter comes over, sees you, the four of you, clearly carousing with this heathen, this ruffian who is disturbing the peaceful people trying to enjoy the cafe. And the waiter says, "No, go, be gone, all of you, leave now, be gone, shoo." And he wants you all to get out of the cafe.
1,000 apologies, my good man. I'm so sorry. This is not to be reflected on our stature or our business. This was a simple
filthy Americans, get out of here. Go.
Oh dear.
Go now. Go.
Can't really argue with that. Get my purse and whatever, and we get Calvin and we try to get out of there with him.
All right, and what you have known of Calvin kind of comes to mind, whereas none of you actually know him very well in a social standing. But what you've heard, he's always seemed to be quite mild-mannered. He's never displayed erratic behavior before. He just simply stopped coming to class, 3 weeks ago. And even someone went to his apartment. These Parisian students, it's not like you're on a university campus, in a in a dormitory, everyone has their own apartments. You try and sleep or live close to campus. So someone went and checked out his apartment, and the apartment was empty. So it was like, oh well, clearly he got recalled home. But as Ainsley knows, he studies architecture. And he's always had Ainsley recalls that he's always had a particular fascination with Gothic buildings. And of course, nothing gets more Gothic than Notre Dame. And even Sandy, kind of knows of Calvin a bit because he showed an aptitude with sculptures, but all of his sculptures are really, really, Sandy would call Calvin more of a hobby modelist. He built little models of buildings, not real sculpture. Truly, no art involved in that. But then also, Leigh, you've also heard of Calvin because he has an aptitude for jewelry making. He's done a few small pieces, and they've been well received. There are even still some of the finer dressed ladies with bracelets or necklace pieces that have been fashioned by Calvin. So he does have some interesting aspects to his character, but he's just never been someone that any of you have gotten to know previously in depth. So the waiter has brushed you out of Le Foie Gras and no, get out. Take that vagrant with you. Go.
I'll drape an arm over my shoulder and kind of steady and take the weight of the guy, and we'll move on. Maybe we can go like to school and see, like, I don't know, a nurse or like the medical wing or something. Or do you guys know if there's a doctor nearby?
There should be someone, certainly.
Maybe just for the immediate time being, maybe to like an alley around the corner from the building, just to kind of get him away from the restaurant. And if we don't really have a clear place to go, I don't know.
Well, he clearly is unconscious now.
He seems to he's rousing a bit as you guys are physically manhandling him and dragging him about. He's coming and going. He rouses momentarily, hears you guys talking about doctors, and he pushes off from Sandy and says, No, I'm going home.
You need some help, my friend.
I have help at home. You go. Leave me alone.
We thought you had left Paris, Calvin.
I leave now.
Well, you said you have help at home. Maybe we can escort you there. Where's your home?
You're in no shape to go alone.
And Calvin stands there and he's looking in different directions, and he goes, home. And he kind of starts to walk, stumbling, not in a straight line, towards an alley.
I do not believe it would be wise to leave him alone.
We have to follow him. If it looks like he's going to turn into an alley or something, I'm very concerned. If he starts wandering into traffic, also concerned.
All right, yeah, I'll be right there with him, trying to. Come on, man! Like, just relax. Tell us where home is, and we'll get you there.
He says, "Okay," and he gives you the address of his apartment.
The one that we know to be empty, or that was reputed to be empty.
He gives you a different address. So it's not the apartment that you were aware of or that you had heard of as his actual apartment. this is a different address, and it's kind of far from the school. Still in Paris, but further away from where you would assume a student would be living.
Is this like a walking distance sort of thing, or do we need to get a?
Yeah, absolute walking. Yep, everyone. Yeah, Paris is a walking town.
Are we familiar with the area? Do we know of like any doctors or medicine or anything like that around?
You're aware that Paris is divided out into basically neighborhoods. There's all these, different. I forgot the name of it, but it's like ArdenSant or something like that. But it's all these just different neighborhood districts. And so he's talking about how he apparently he lives in this other district now. And the only thing that you know about that district is it's certainly not a popular higher class district. It looks like that district is probably the wrong side of the railroad tracks kind of thing.
Well, so as we're becoming aware of the neighborhood we're going into, I'm continuing to sort of talk to him, and if he says anything else, mumbles anything else about the black stars and the white sky, whatever, I'm going to ask. I'm going to continue to ask, right? So I'm not going to bring it up if he doesn't, but it's definitely got my attention and what I'm interested in, and that may seem. And this is not something that anyone else has heard me talk about, so I'm not really sure if that's a point of curiosity for any other students.
So you guys are gonna basically help him home?
Yeah.
Yes.
I think Sandy will be kind of keeping an eye out for some of the ne'er-do-wells if we're going into like a bad area, wanting to protect people and watch for bad guys and that sort of thing.
Okay. Yeah, so as you get into this neighborhood, it definitely looks like this is not where tourists come to visit Paris. The buildings are, all these buildings are, slapped together, and it's very narrow apartment buildings, and you can see Calvin is heading for a certain set of stairs. So you go up a flight of stairs from the street level to get to the door, and then once you get inside, there's apartments, on multiple floors inside the building. So he apparently he's heading for that building right there, and it looks awful. And Ainsley, as an architect student, through your assessment of architecture, you can tell that this building is not long before it's probably going to be officially condemned. It is just a really run-down building. As you guys get into the building, unless you choose to stop him, he starts ascending. It's a 4-story building, and he's going up the steps, and it goes
Any
up
markings?
and up and up. I mean, there's address. There's an address. Set of numbers on the building outside, and there's apartment numbers on the doors inside. So it's a communal interior stairwell, and then the front door for each apartment is on that door, and so each floor has 4 apartments, and it's a 4-story building, so 16 apartments in this building, and so he's going up that central stairwell slowly. You guys are kind of having to hoist him, step by step, and he ascends all the way up to the 4th floor.
And he has not really engaged us in any conversation.
He's just been having nonsensical mumbling where you haven't actually really been able to hear any words, and he's like he's having an internal monologue with himself, and only a few words every now and then just kind of mumble out. But he's approaching the door. So numerically, it's the fourth apartment on the fourth floor. So it's like this last apartment. And so as he's kind of out in the hallway, and the hallway is super dimly lit. In fact, as you guys were going up the steps, there were a couple of doors that the doors would part just enough where you could see an old woman's grimy face kind of peeking out. And then as she would see you guys, the door would shut, right? So people are just completely ignoring their neighbors in this building. And so you guys have made it all the way to the fourth floor. And Calvin is walking towards his apartment door, but as he's getting towards his door, he's kind of tilting. He's tilting. Now he's got a shoulder that he's just rubbing on the wall as he's walking. His shoulder's rubbing on the wall, and then as he's getting towards the door, he's fishing into his pocket, and then he's trying to pull something, and he pulls out a key and some other things just kind of fall out of his pocket. And he just kind of exhales, and he just kind of slides down the wall, lands on his butt, and he's just head up against the wall, and he's just slumped there, and you can hear him beginning to snore as he's slowly starting to tip to go to the ground. And his key and a bracelet have come out of his pocket.
All right, I'll try to catch him.
I can't believe that he would get in this state during the day.
Well, sometimes the drink gets the butter of you,
Key, anybody?
There's a key on the floor. There's a bracelet on the floor. Calvin's on the floor. Sandy is starting to kind of lift Calvin up and prop him back up.
I'll take the key and open the door.
Okay. You open the door, and inside this apartment, the apartment smells absolutely awful.
Oof.
It is a just rancid, like rotting meat kind of smell. And the apartment is an utter pigsty. There are sheets and torn sheets of paper just all over. It's like confetti. Some of the pieces of paper are fairly big, some are pretty dang small, but there's just ripped up sheets of paper just everywhere. And it's deep. Like you feel like if you were to start walking on it, you might kind of slide as there's a minor avalanche of torn paper debris in this room. And the paper, it looks like, is being used. Sandy, you would kind of recognize this. Pardon me. As a form of sculpture, because it looks like he's been using ripped up shreds of paper for paper mache. And Calvin has constructed what looks like little buildings, little architecture buildings, and they're just propped up all over the place. There's 2 or 3 on that chair, and that chair is just covered in shredded paper, but some of the shredded paper is fashioned into little buildings, and there's a few more on that table, and some on that mantle, and some over there on that table, and on that couch over there, and on the floor leading towards that hallway towards the back. I mean, there's just shreds of paper and little buildings all over the place. And some of these little buildings have little flickers of light from inside the little houses, the little buildings. Ainsley, with your architecture skill, you recognize that all of these buildings that you see, all these little modeled buildings, they're all some of them are they're all different aspects of Notre Dame. So he hasn't built a full replica of Notre Dame. He's like, here's the west facade, and he's built that, and here's this east facade, and he's just built like bits and pieces of Notre Dame. Every one of these little sculptures in this sea of paper is bits of Notre Dame. Are you guys all just in the doorway threshold, or what are y'all doing?
Well, the smell is kind of imposing.
Yeah, it's pretty awful.
Imposing is a good word. I like that.
I'll be looking
grabbed
for
the
like a
bracelet.
chair Sorry, go ahead.
I grabbed the bracelet and his other trinkets and put them inside on a table or something.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll look for a chair or a bed or something, like to lay him down or sit him down in a chair or something.
All right.
I'll be looking for where the smell coming from to throw that by the window, anything.
Okay.
I'm taking
That'd be a problem for the outdoors.
All right. Leigh, you picked up the bracelet. With your natural history, the bracelet looks to be like little stones, little polished and fashioned stones that have been strung together, and some of the stones have small paintings on them, little decorative color and stuff, but it looks like it's a black stone. But with your natural history, this bracelet, despite it having kind of a heft and look and feel of stone, it doesn't read as stone to you. In fact, you feel like it reads more like bone than stone, but you find that very odd.
Black, you say?
Black.
Very curious. Sandy, what do you make of this?
I'm not sure. That's interesting. What kind of material is that? I'll like take it and try to see what it is.
Yeah, it does have a strange feel to it. Let me check something real quick here. Describe how you're, for each of you, describe how you've handled this bracelet as you examine it.
This
Who's
is
looking
not
at the
remotely
bracelet?
important, I'm sure. So bend down, pick up, right? So if I had a hair tie, right, it would probably put my hand go through it, and his other trinkets or whatever he had, coins and whatever, carry them in, set them on a side table. I metagaming for a second. It is not on my wrist.
Okay. You didn't put it on. All right.
I didn't put
right.
it on. Just
Sandy, what about you?
Yeah, I just kind of picked it up for a second, kind of rubbed my fingers across it, trying to determine like what it's made of, like what kind of bracelet it is, and just determine like properties, like what what is it nice, what was it made of, like is it expensive, like that sort of thing.
Have you ever seen any stones like that? Any material, special marble or granite, maybe? It's almost like bone, but black.
Yeah, that's really weird. I don't know. Would I have seen something like that?
No, you don't. You have never seen anything like that.
Okay, yeah.
As Sandy and Leigh are examining the bracelet, Dorian, you're in the apartment, kind of looking around at things. What were you looking at in particular?
I was trying to find where the smell came from just to throw that thing out.
Okay. So you kind of start picking your way through, and you're going to be heading for the rear of the apartment. There's filth everywhere, but it's this front room that has the majority of just the heaps, like literal heaps of paper garbage. And so as you're kind of plowing your way through these heaps of paper, you take a look at a sheet, and it's a torn sheet in your hand, and due to your skill in writing, because you're familiar with many forms of the written word and how to present the written word in a variety of ways. The sheets of paper, as you actually look at one of them and look at the print that's on the partial print, because it's been torn, it looks to you as if these are stage play instructions and character dialogue from a written play, and you see things like a character by the name of Cassandra in this piece that you've seen here.
Interesting. Maybe he was a fan of Greek theater.
Clearly. And then Ainsley, what are you doing in the room?
I'm just taking a closer look at these models. Probably have drawn a handkerchief from my pocket and kind of holding it up to my nose to try to stop some of the smell, but too interested in the models to let the filth bother me at this particular moment.
Okay. So yeah, with your architecture, you realize that every, as noted before, every single sculpture and there are a few drawings in the room, they all represent Notre Dame, specifically the western facade of the cathedral, and that the with the doors that are on that western side of the cathedral, they are, in his sculptures, the doors are wildly out of proportion. They look utterly enormous and grand in his sculptures, which is completely out of context with the way they are in reality. And you do know that Notre Dame, it took about 100 years for it to be built, and it went into partial ruin during the French Revolution. But for the last 25 years, the most recent 25 years, there's been a real revitalization and rebuilding movement that began in 1870 to get Notre Dame kind of rebeautified. And so there have been scores of artists and be it painters or sculptors or architects who have been volunteering their time and trade, and they've been reworking in fine detail bits and pieces of the church to try and re-beautify it, because at this time period, Paris realizes that these kinds of artistic pieces of their history are important, and they want to revitalize them. So that's a big movement that's been going on for the last 25 years. Maybe Calvin has kind of gotten swept up into that. And you can see, as you kind of examine those sculptures, he's put tiny little candles inside these paper sculptures, and they're lit. So that some of these little tiny churches are emanating light because he's got candlelight inside those things.
That hardly seems safe.
Right?
I'll blow them out as I'm looking at them.
There is nothing OSHA compliant about this. I will say that.
Especially since the apartment is littered with paper scraps.
I need Dorian.
Yes.
To make a sense trouble test as you are getting deeper into the apartment. So this is a general ability. So you'll be rolling your 1d6. I have a target number. You have points in that. I will say this. It's not a critical thing. We're at the very beginning of the adventure, so you may or may not want to spend points on this. So
I'll try and go with the luck I have.
All right.
2.
Okay. So as you're, going into the apartment, deeper into the apartment, it's a small apartment, and you're trying to locate where's the source of this smell. You go and reach for a doorknob, and as you pull the doorknob and open the door, a corpse that was stuffed into this closet in a standing vertical position, it falls out and lands on you, and so a corpse, falls on top of you.
Putain de bordel de merde. Fuck. Shit. What the fuck?
Okay.
Dorian, language.
And as this corpse falls and topples onto you, both Leigh and Sandy are, where they were looking at this bracelet, they are able to look down the hall and go, holy shit. And so you guys see that a body, and it's, clearly from sight and smell, long dead, but shriek. A body has toppled out and landed on Dorian. And as soon as that happened, there's another shriek that joins Leigh's shriek, and it is Calvin, who has suddenly bolted up in a fervor and with madness in his eyes, and somewhere he got a knife. He leaps at Ainsley to attack. So,
well, damn. Guess
we're going to have our combat. Now, combat is, I find, very, very interesting and cool in Yellow King. So we first have a conversation. It's a little bit of a meta thing. You don't go just right into it. So we have a conversation first about combat. First, we have to determine how many of the characters want to participate in the combat. Now, any character that reasonably has the ability to participate, but they choose not to, that will have a negative impact on the other team members and their ability to conduct the fight. So if you have the ability to fight, but you choose not to, you're kind of helping the bad guys. Also, as a team, we need to collaborate and decide what is the ultimate goal of this fight. We need to have some kind of resolution in mind. And I did send this out to a couple of players, but I think what I'm going to do real quick is in the OG3 text channel here on Discord, I'm going to post a JPEG. And it is kind of a cheat sheet for combat. So let me just do this real quick.
Is it the kill, render, helpless, gain surrender thing?
Yep.
Okay. I've got that up.
No, that's not it. Where is it? Here we go. Fighting objectives. All right. So for those who did not have this document sent to them prior to the game, I have this little cheat sheet called Fighting Objectives. And so as a team, you need to decide what is your ultimate goal for the fight. Do you want to kill the person that you're fighting? Do you want to render them harmless or helpless, I should say? Gain their surrender, just simply beat them up, or block that person from doing something? Do you want to fight them and drive them off, drive them away? Do you want to, during the course of this fight, do you want to escape instead? Do you want to escape with a captive? Do you want to try and acquire something from the bad guys during the fight? Do you want to overrun them and just keep on going? Maybe they're blocking you from getting through an alleyway or something. Or do you want to topple them over? The topple them over is an interesting solution for combat, and that normally only applies if your villain, whoever it is that you're fighting, is on a type of precipice. Maybe it's the edge of a rooftop or cliff, and you want to topple them over and send them, tumbling down into the oblivion or whatever. So as a group, you have to decide how many people are participating in the fight, if you can reasonably participate, and what is your ultimate goal. Once we know what how many people are fighting and what the ultimate goal is, initiative is determined by you look at your skill that you're going to be applying, and you determine how many points you want to spend. In most fights, you're going to be using the fighting skill. Kind of self-evident. But you don't always have to be using the fighting skill. Maybe you don't feel like you're going to be a good fighter, and so maybe you want to do something like in a first aid capacity, and you want to help someone so that they don't get hurt so bad. And maybe Sandy is just going to go in there and just really rough him up, and you decide, I want to support Sandy by, I'll do a first aid and keep him healthy as he's fighting. Maybe you can help patch a wound or something, and that's great. You'll be doing first aid instead of fighting. So there are ways where you can be a supportive person in a fight without actually being a fighter. And in that case, you would not be assisting the bad guys because you are participating to some degree. It's only the players who just say, screw this, I don't want to fight. That's when you're going to be helping the bad guy. Now, in this particular fight, because Ainsley had a corpse fall on her,
Dorian.
Ainsley... I'm sorry, you're right, Dorian. I said Ainsley. Dorian. Because Dorian had a corpse fall on him, and he is under a dead body, Dorian is free to not participate in this fight without it being a penalty, because he can't get into the fight. There's a corpse on him. But that means, and Ainsley, you are in the fight because I'm fighting you. Right. And that leaves Leigh and Sandy to decide, do you help Ainsley in the fight, or do you go down the hall and help Dorian with the corpse?
Helping Ainsley in the fight.
Sandy's in the fight. Leigh?
Helping Ainsley in the fight, and I don't know if we declare goals later, but I think my personal goal here is to gain surrender, or however.
Okay. Yeah. So now, as a team, those who are in the fight, what is your ultimate goal of this fight?
Well, I want to prevent him from harming Ainsley, so I want to overpower.
So gaining a surrender would do that.
Surrender is fine. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Ainsley, are you good with that? Gaining a surrender?
Yeah.
All right, gaining surrender. So that will be our ultimate goal, which is to gain surrender. And so in combat, as game master, I have certain difficulty numbers. And I will say, in general, if your ultimate goal is to kill someone, that is usually the most difficult type of difficulty for you to achieve. If your ultimate goal is to escape, where basically you guys just want to run away, that's usually the easiest difficulty to overcome. And then anything else, if it's not kill and not escape, anything else kind of falls in the middle zone known as other. And the other difficulty level, it varies. Sometimes it could be equally as difficult as killing, sometimes it's equally difficult as escaping, and sometimes it truly is right in the middle. And you guys will not know what that number is. So we have our combatants and we know what our ultimate goal is. And Ainsley, I am assuming you're going to be using fighting to fight Calvin.
Yep. That's
Sandy, I assume you're also using fighting?
I think probably, yeah.
Leigh, are you going to use fighting, or do you want to try and support somebody? What do you think of as your role in this fight?
She's definitely a hard scrabble gal, so she's definitely fighting. She is going to holler down the hallway at Dorian because he needs to help. He needs to stop messing around with whatever fell out of the closet.
Yeah. Dorian is spitting out, dry blood and stuff that's fallen into his mouth from this corpse that fell.
Corpse juice.
Corpse juice.
Well, let me rephrase. Let me ask a different question. Does he look like he needs assistance, Dorian?
I don't know. You decided to join the fight. But you can.
I'm helping with the knife.
Yeah,
Knife is a paramount concern.
All right. Okay, so from what I heard, all three of you will be using the fighting skill. So that's great. Now we know what skill we're going to use. Now, for initiative, each of you need to decide how many points, how many skill points do you want to spend from your fighting skill in this fight. And whoever has the highest number of points, you are first in the initiative, and we go down from there. And as the game progresses, there will be opportunities for you to have refreshes where some of these general abilities can refresh and come back up. Because I know you look at these points and you're like, I don't feel like I have a lot of points.
Yeah.
Guess what? You don't have a lot of points. So part of the game is being judicious in how many points do you spend in certain situations, because the refreshes, you don't know when they're going to happen. It might be a little while before you get some points back. So knowing that whoever spends the most is first and down from there, Ainsley, how many fighting points do you want to spend in this fight?
I want to spend 2.
Okay, and keep a note for each player. Keep a note for yourself, if you would please. I have too much to do to do that management for you. So keep track of how many points you've spent and have remaining. So Ainsley's spending 2 fighting points. Sandy, what about you?
I'll use 3.
Wow. Okay, and Leigh, how many are you going to spend?
Well, everybody's really going lower than I thought we were going to go. I was thinking 4. This is a dude, a crazy dude, taking a knife to us, to one of us. If it's not Ainsley, it's going to be one of us. I'm putting 4. I'm all in on this. This has got to be stopped.
All right.
Wow.
Excellent. All right. So mark your points that you spent, and so going from top down. I'm gonna do with the sheet. Here it is. Okay. So we got Leigh, and then Sandy, and then Ainsley, and it was a 4 3, 2 in spins. Okay. So now, Leigh, roll 1d6 and add the 4 points that you spent and tell me what your total is.
Oh, fuck. So sorry. You said I'm managing a couple of things. What was the
Roll
question?
1d6 and roll 1d6, add the 4 points that you spent, and tell me what your total
Got
is.
it. All right, I rolled a 3, add the 4, that gives me 7.
All right. Fantastic. So Leigh, you go leaping in there, and it's a very successful attack that you're making. Describe it to me. What did you do in such a spectacular form?
I grab his arm that's holding the knife, and I knee up in the groin, and it's always pretty effective against some people.
Yeah, very effective. In fact, his hand, the shock, the nervous shock pops his hand open and the knife falls free. Of course, all of this is happening in a fluid manner. So, Sandy, roll 1d6, add the 3 points that you spent, and tell me what your total is.
A 6.
6. Okay. And that was a very effective fight. Describe how what your maneuver was that was so effective.
I was wanting to basically get behind him, wrap an arm around his throat, and then just kind of fall back and take him off of his legs and pin him down.
Okay, excellent. And Ainsley, roll 1d6, add the 2 points that you spent. Tell me what your total is.
I got a 7.
All right, and you also had a very effective and positive fight. So describe your effective maneuver.
Sandy pulled him down to the ground. I guess Ainsley would kind of kick him in the stomach.
Nice. And that kick, it just completely knocked the wind out of him, and every ounce of fight left him. So in combat, the people or monsters that you fight will sometimes have what's called a toll. And a toll would be a number of points that you would have to pay from your health, composure, and athletics, I think. I'll have to double check that real quick. But you would have a number of points that you would have to spend. Where did my thing go? I can look at that. You have a number of points. Oh, there it is. You have a number of toll points that you would have to spend. Yeah, I have to look that up. But health and composure, and there's another skill that you can deduct toll points from. This foe, Calvin, he has a toll of 0, so nobody is going to lose any points. And let me just double check the steps, final combat steps real quick. Fighting test, no failure. On success, narrates their action and then pays toll or takes which the okay. So you can always choose not to pay the toll, and if you do not pay the toll, you'll take a minor injury. In this case, because the foe has a toll of 0, you all choose to pay the 0 toll and take no injuries at all. Nobody failed, and you have good margins.
What was the other skill? Health, composure, and what?
I need to look that up real quick. Okay, it's health, composure, and I I can look it up in just a little bit here, but it's not going to be an issue right now. And then we have the final margin. The margin is greater than 0. So you have all successfully suppressed the rage in Calvin and stopped him from fighting you.
And I'm giving him what for? Like, what the hell is wrong with you? You don't stab your friends. You don't stab ladies. Like, what are you thinking?
Where did that knife even come from?
And he's just weeping.
I run down to help Dorian.
Okay, Dorian
Please.
There's filth, blood, and gore filth all over Dorian's face and his clothing from this corpse that fell onto him.
I'm gonna need a shower.
Dorian, get up! Out from under that thing!
I think we found the source of the smell.
Yes, we did. It's not pleasant when it gets in your mouth. I get up.
All right, Dorian, you get up. And Calvin has been, you knocked the wind out of him, and he is unconscious.
I think we should tie him up for his own safety.
Yeah, and ours. That's good. Let's look for like rope or something to tie him up with.
All right.
I'm not looking anymore inside of this apartment. Nope.
Fool me once, shame on you.
I simply go for the door and wait for them outside.
Well,
with Leigh, with your natural history, you are pretty sure that corpse is it's been dead for 3 weeks.
How long has Calvin been missing?
About 3 weeks.
3 weeks.
3 weeks. Recognizable in any way, or too far gone?
It's pretty decomposed, and you can see parts and pieces. The corpse has been cut open, and you can see that there are parts and pieces missing from him.
Okay, whoa. Been cut open. So, holy crap cakes. So this, is it completely naked? Or I assumed it was like a clothed person who was just put in the closet. But is it any clothing?
The corpse is naked. The corpse is naked.
Male or female?
Male.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And our buddy Calvin is unconscious.
Calvin is unconscious. You've beat him into unconsciousness.
Maybe he had a roommate.
He has surrendered.
We should look for bedrooms, and I get out of. I probably assume I have a handkerchief or something. I'm covering up my mouth, and we need to figure out if there's a roommate.
Now
whatever.
The little church sculptures, the little Notre Dame sculptures with candles in them, they're still lit. They're still in the room.
How many would you say that there are of these candles? 100, 3, what?
Like 24.
Can we put those candles out? Hey, Ainsley,
Wasn't somebody blowing them out earlier?
Well, before.
That's when I got attacked.
Okay. So maybe a few of them are out, and so we've got like some left, or
only 2 left.
So who wants to put out the candles and snuff out these images of Notre Dame that are lit from the inside?
Yeah, I'll start blowing some out, and while I'm doing that, I'll be looking for like rope to tie Calvin up.
Okay, so Sandy's doing it. Anybody helping him?
Spending my time kind of putting myself back together after that tussle on the ground.
I'm going to help
frightening
Sandy by suggesting that he use his belt to bind our friend Calvin.
I'm outside the door trying to take a breath that's not stinking or filthy or anything.
Or maybe a window.
Okay. All right. Yeah, Dorian is out in the hallway. All right. So, Leigh, are you going to help with the candles and stuff, or
I'm going to
no?
search. I'm looking to see if there's anybody else here. I'm trying to figure out if he was a sole occupant of the apartment. So if there's one bed,
Okay.
that would be a signal that he's the only person here. But if there's two beds, maybe that was the roommate. And if it was the roommate, maybe the neighbors knew him. She has a research background, so I think she's turning into her Nancy Drew mode a little bit.
Great. Yeah. So the apartment is a 1-bedroom apartment. The restroom is not functioning, so it's all backed up and it's black and filth in the restroom. Clearly, whoever's been sleeping in the bed has just been using the bed as a restroom as well, and the bed is covered in filth.
I mean, I've fallen on hard times, but not that hard. Holy shit!
So Sandy, as you are putting out some of these candles and kind of blowing them out, and sometimes it's hard to get the breath in there, so you're tearing apart some of these paper maches and stamping these things out and blowing them out. As you kind of start tearing these paper mache, really, if there is a lower class of sculpture than the paper mache, I'm not sure anyone's utterly aware of it yet. So as a sculptor, you're utterly, this is so disgusting and beneath you. Honestly, no one should have even invented paper mache. It's just awful, right? I mean, you're just such a snob about it. Okay, so you're just tearing this thing apart and putting it down. And so as you're tearing off these paper mache structures and exposing the candles, you can see that each of these little candles is nested in something that's kind of holding it upright, and it's almost like a wax, maybe a wax of some sort that's kind of fueling the candle. No, it's not wax, it's organ meat from the corpse. And then as you're tearing these structures, the paper mache is just bleeding. Blood is just starting to flow from these structures as you tear them away. I need Sandy to make a composure test. So you'll see that composure is one of your general abilities. You need to decide if you want to spend any points from composure, and you don't have to, but whatever you spend, make sure you deduct that. Roll 1d6. Add the number of points that you spent and tell me what you get, please.
Okay. I'm writing down what I'm going to use. I'll take 2 points of.
Okay, 2 points. Great.
Ooh, 8. So super composed.
Yes, super composed. I love it.
How do you do it where it bleeds? Like, that's weird, man. Like,
yeah, that is super weird.
That kind of got into the. Oh. And then I kind of remember like something that happened like the other day that the blood kind of brings back a memory and kind of weirded out about it.
Oh, tell us the memory. What did it bring back?
It was blood on the lips of my Salome statue the other morning. Like, I don't know how that happened or why that happened. I have no memory of any kind of reason for that. So it's weird.
So I want to, Sandy, I want to direct you to our text channel in Discord. And with your successful composure test, you have only received the shock card of unease. So your next presence or focus test will have a -1 penalty. And then you will get to discard this card. So, Sandy, you have picked up 1 out of 3 possible shock cards before you go insane. As you... Oh, in addition, in addition... Oh, no. That was the wrong one. You did not get that shot card. Ignore that shot card. You did not. You got a different shot card. That was for something different. Your shot card is...
I can delete it if we need to. Or does it matter?
It doesn't matter. This is yours. A witness to carnage. So seeing that the organ meat and the bleeding of the thing, it was a little bit more shocking than just unease. It was a witness to carnage. You have a -1 on all tests, which are general abilities. You'll discard this if you are the recipient of a push. And explain why the push would help. So if one of your pals, your buddy, your friends, does something like reassurance, which I know one of you I had to give the reassurance skill, but if someone was to do reassurance and do a push and spend a push in your benefit of doing reassurance, then you can discard this shot card.
Wow, what would have happened if I failed?
Right? What would have happened if you had failed? All right.
Jesus Christ, these things are bleeding!
I'm not looking back inside there.
Ainsley, it's up to you to notice what he's saying.
Now, Sandy, pull yourself together.
That sounds like
It's
reassurance.
going to be okay.
Yeah, I'm pulling myself up with my bootstraps now.
So, do you want to spend? You want to spend one of your pushes and do reassurance for him?
Yeah, I'll spend a push. Why not?
All right, Ainsley is down a push.
You saved me from that dreadful attack.
You may discard a witness to carnage.
Thanks, Ainsley, for reassuring me. I got the willies with the bleeding paper mache. Like, who'd have thunk it?
Who would have thunk it?
Just hours ago, we were sitting in a cafe, just enjoying our day, and then now look at what the hell's going on. And
You didn't have a corpse fall on you, though.
yeah.
So clearly, Calvin, there's something going on with Calvin. He's been uber focused on Notre Dame and who is this corpse in this apartment and what is going on. By now, all of the candles are out. Most of the structures have been crushed, and their little lumps are bleeding.
I come back into the room. I see what is that? Is there a smell with? I guess you couldn't tell it because of all the uber.
There's
smell.
still the smell.
Yeah. But that doesn't really make any.
Can you open windows or something? Can we just start airing it out?
No other bodies, and
no other bodies,
and any other artwork other than the paper mache buildings.
Mm-mm.
Okay. Notebook, scribbles in a desk, anything. Receipts.
And you guys did bind Calvin?
Yeah, if I found rope while I was doing the other stuff, I would have used that. If not, I would have used the suggestion.
Rope is fine. Yeah, rope is fine. You've bound him in rope. So as Leigh comes back from checking the rest of the apartment and has determined that there are no other people in this apartment, that it's incredibly small, Calvin is mumbling in the heap where you've left him, and Last Judgment, the doors to Last Judgment, white sky, black stars. It's all going to end. The judgment day is coming.
Calvin, what do you mean by the white sky and the black stars? Have you seen it?
He I have seen it. Have you seen it? Have you seen the yellow sign?
I grab some. There's got to be pencils or ink or smudges or something, and on the wall.
There's a pool of blood nearby.
Okay. What about maybe some literally anything else? like
You can get some of the shit out of his bed, and
I was gonna say there's something in the bed.
Calvin, you see Calvin moving his jaw around, and he's groaning. He's like, and he rolls his body over. His arms are bound, so he's just rolling like a seal, and he plants his face onto the floor where the papers are, and you can see he's like moving his mouth around and stuff, and when he gets done, doing whatever he's doing with his mouth, his body rolls back out of the way, and you can see that with his tongue he bit his own tongue and drew in blood this symbol. If you look in the text channel, he drew that symbol in blood on the papers, and as blood is dribbling from his mouth, he looks and he goes, "The yellow sign."
I'm calling the cops.
That's
I'm
something
going
I
need-
downstairs.
I think I need Leigh to make a composure test.
composure. All right. So this is the D6, and I pick how many.
Yep. Now you
points.
can pick how many points, and then do a roll and tell me what you get.
All right. So I've got a 6 skill or attribute or ability. I'm going to use 4 of those. I'm going to roll the die. I rolled a 2. That gives me 6.
Okay. So with your successful test, you do truly gain the unease shock card. So your next presence or focus test will have a -1 penalty. After that test, you can discard the card. So keep the unease in mind for you.
Gotcha. Got it. I don't recognize that symbol, I assume.
You do not recognize it.
Is it clear that it's a symbol, or is it? I mean, I take it that it's clear, or we wouldn't have.
Right.
Yeah.
Or it wouldn't have had that shock, that mental shock to you.
What is that, Calvin? What is that?
The yellow sign. He has shown it to me.
Who? I take. There's like this red substance in the paper mache that I don't know is blood, and I'm gonna take like some paper, or grab some of the paper mache that has some of that stuff, and on the wall, I'm going to sketch something, and it's
Okay.
going to be. There's a horizon. There's a big black sort of oval thing in the foreground, and I say this is a lake, and then I dot 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 for stars, and I say the white sky, the black stars, and this sinister lake. This is it, right? This is what you've seen?
He begins to cry, and he says, "I will wait for you there." And then you can see he begins to choke.
what's he choking on? Do we
blood.
He's drowning. He's drowning on his own blood.
Yeah.
He's swallowing his own tongue.
I have first aid. Can we? I'm assuming there's a story beat. This is not preventable, but with first aid, I want to try to stop this.
Anything's preventable.
Okay, well then let's
All right.
let's not let this happen.
All right. How many points of first aid do you want to spend?
3.
All right. Roll your d6. Spend your points. Roll your d6.
Can a girl get a little help here? Anybody? Hey, 8 total.
All right. You do prevent him from drowning. You're able to pull. Unfortunately, you had to grab that knife, and the portion of his tongue that he was trying to choke himself on, you had to cut that portion of his tongue out. And so you get that piece of meat out of his mouth, and
I don't know if
he
she's
sits there.
capable of that. Okay.
And Calvin weeps as he's like, "I'm going to die."
What's happening in here?
And he just collapses.
Did not see that coming.
Wow.
Oh, holy shit! He was. Oh boy. We gotta call the police.
Yes.
Yeah.
Let's just turn this over to the police. They should go to Notre Dame. I'm sure they'll be fine.
There was something I was going to say, and I can't remember it. It's like right on the tip of my tongue, but I just can't quite. Sorry.
Here's the tip.
Sorry.
Tip of the tongue.
Yeah. I do believe that at a minimum, we have to call the cops. And by call the cops, I mean go get the cops. I don't know how that looks here in this time period. And then when that's resolved,
I think they're known as Gardome or something like that. And you can report something and they'll just respond, or you can bring them. It's whatever you want to do.
I think one of us needs to go get a constable or what you just said and tell them that we found a body, and they'll take it seriously, hopefully, and they'll come back and and then they'll take care of Calvin, who will probably die in jail, and then we can go try to figure out what's going on here, because clearly I think there's something at Notre Dame that I at least feel compelled to look into here. This visage that I've seen, and I explained to the group, I've seen this. I recently, in recent weeks, I've felt compelled to express this scene in painting, and a white sky, black stars, a black lake, and he's connected to it somehow. You heard it, right?
Yeah, we heard it, but we also saw him try to kill you with a knife.
Well, he technically tried to kill Ainsley.
He would have gone for any of us after it.
Yeah, I know.
He killed the guy.
Well, we don't know that for sure.
There's a dead body.
We just know that he gutted that person and made paper mache out of him. We don't know how he died. Yeah. I'm just saying, it's connected. It's connected to Notre Dame. Look at these sculptures. I think he's lost his mind, but there's something to this. I'm going. Dorian,
Well,
let's go.
Well, if you had allowed me first to go take a shower and change clothing.
Of course.
please do, for all of our sakes.
So
My own sakes, I also wished for it.
is Leigh and Dorian the only people leaving? Is Ainsley and Sandy staying behind?
What I'm suggesting is that one person goes and gets the cops, bring them back. They take the cops take over, and then we are free to go about our business.
Well, Leigh, you could go and do that. I'll go take a shower.
Okay. So Dorian's leaving to get cleaned up because he looks like he could be the murderer, covered in blood.
In rotting blood.
In rotting blood. So Leigh wants to go and fetch the constable. And so are we leaving Ainsley and Sandy behind?
Ainsley's kind of waiting to see what Sandy's going to do.
Yeah, I think we wait and wait for the cops and stuff. Like I don't want to leave this scene and then have someone else discover it, and then us have already been here, see us leaving, and then it gets into a whole thing. So we should stay and greet the cops and try to tell them what we've discovered.
All right.
I'll go. Sure.
So
Keep an eye
Dorian
on Alvin.
Dorian goes to get clean. Lee's going to go and get the authorities. Ainsley and Sandy are staying behind. Sandy, what about that bracelet that you had earlier? Do you do anything with that?
I had basically just kind of dropped it as the fight happened and stuff. So like it's kind of out of sight, out of mind at this point, I think. So.
Okay. All right. All right. So Dorian's gone and Lee has left, and it might be a little while before Lee can get back because you guys are in a pretty rundown, forgotten portion, a forgotten neighborhood of Paris, and it might be a little difficult for Lee to finally, not impossible. It's going to take a little more time for Lee to find that constable and bring them back. As you guys are in the apartment, what are you doing to pass the time?
They play with matches.
Once.
Well, the bed's out, so there goes my.
I don't know, Ainsley, you want to make out?
I'm probably not going to stay in the apartment. Probably sitting like out in the hall. Is there a window at like the end of the hallway looking out onto the street? Maybe.
There is
like the last door.
Yeah, there is. You go past the stairwell and you're at that, it's a very little used portion of that hallway because there's no apartment door right there, So people don't normally walk right up to that area because they're normally going to a door. But yeah, you can walk over and peer out that front window.
Yeah.
Sandy, are you staying in the apartment by yourself?
No, I'll kind of wander out since Ainsley's out there, and I know this is kind of a bad part of town. I don't want to leave the lady unattended. But maybe on the way out, I'll stumble across that bracelet and see that. I was like, oh yeah, I was looking at that. And I'll kind of pick it up and start looking at it.
Okay, all right.
Kind of stand around by the door and keep an eye on Ainsley, but make sure that nobody's going in to mess with stuff or whatever.
Okay, so you're in the hallway by the door, and Ainsley is in the hallway, but out by that forward street-facing window, kind of looking down 4 stories down at the street side. Excellent. So as you guys are there and you're waiting for Lee to come back, I need Sandy to give me a composure test.
Okay. I won't spend anything. I'm just gonna do it, and that's a 2.
All right. So Sandy, you have gained, you have a little bit of a bad feeling. And as you turn, you're standing in the open doorway of the apartment, and you kind of, for some reason you feel the need to look into the apartment. And as you look into the apartment, there is a figure in all black, very tall, with glowing yellow eyes, and it's just a silhouette of a man. It's just in all flat black, where there's no features of any sort, just two pinpricks of yellow eyes glowing, and you have this cold sense of dread, and so you have gained the dread shock card that says, you can see it here in the text channel. It says -1 to presence and focus tests until after such a test. You'll roll a die, and if you get an even result, you'll get to trade in dread for the shock card unease. But as you see this figure standing in the apartment, that is not the corpse, and it is not Calvin. The figure seems to be whispering something that only you can hear, but it's unintelligible. And then it almost starts to be gliding backwards into the back bedroom with that filthy bed. And as the figure glides backwards and is inside the bedroom, the door to the bedroom slams shut, and the paper mache and the paper that's just littered all over in the front living room, right by you, because it's in the front room, they ignite and catch fire, and there is a growing fire in the apartment.
Wow. Okay, yeah, I'm gonna start shouting fire and start banging on the doors, and like, Ainsley, the room just caught on fire. We must have missed a candle. And I saw something weird, but I'll tell you about it later. Like, I'm banging on doors, like, fire, fire, everybody out, fire.
Okay.
I'll tell Sandy to grab Calvin, right? Because Calvin is still down, like unconscious.
Oh yeah,
tied up.
Calvin.
There is a column. There's a wall of fire between you and Calvin.
Well, shit.
It's not going to be impossible, but if you want to try, you can get in there. It would be an athletics test.
Yeah, all right, let's go for it. Like, Calvin's done some horrible shit lately, but like, I can't just let a guy burn to death if I can try to get him out. So
okay,
I'll spend a couple of points of athletics. Is that what you said?
Yeah. So do an athletics test. How many points do you want to spend?
I'll spend 2 points of athletics.
Okay, and go ahead and roll.
And I'll resume banging on the doors. And
it's a 5.
All right, excellent move. You are able to leap in and hoist Calvin over your shoulder and start getting out. But you can feel that you're inhaling a lot of smoke while you're doing this. I need you to make a health test.
Okay. I guess I'll spend a point of health.
We're gonna go back with the cops, and there's not going to be any evidence except for this dude with no tongue, and they're going to be like, "Who cut his tongue out?" And we're going to be like, and then
he did it to himself.
All right, so that's a 3.
A 3. All right. So you get Calvin out of the burning building. Ainsley is able to get all of the gutter scum residents of the building out safely. But in the course of doing this, as you all of you deposit yourselves out into the street, Sandy is coughing and coughing and coughing, as Sandy has gained an injury card titled "Scarred Lungs." An injury. Lose 2 health points and 1 fighting and 1 riding point as available. Every time you test, I don't know why riding. Every time you test an ability other than preparedness, at the end of the scenario, roll a die. On a 1. This becomes a continuity card. Okay, so lose 2 health points and 1 fighting and 1 riding, if you have riding. Oh, you do have riding. All right. So lose those points, and you have some scarred lungs.
So, my health is at 0 now.
Which, it's fine. It's fine if you have a pool at 0. It just means you have no points that you can spend. Okay? But now Sandy has 1 shock and 1 injury card. All right. Leigh returns with the police, and the fire brigade is also on their way. Other people have been able to alert them, and it's a whole thing. It's a whole brouhaha, and you guys are able to successfully melt away into the background and kind of disappear. The police take over. Calvin is taken and either hospitalized or arrested or a combo of both. The building is condemned and burning to the ground, and you guys are able to get out with your skins for the most part. All right.
What a day.
I'll pull Leigh off to the side at some point and just ask her, what were you talking about that you saw these visions of the black lake and the white sky and the black stars? What's all that about?
So Leigh sort of seems to somewhat suddenly remember that she did all that, and says it's hard to explain, but I've having these dreams, visions. I don't know. I've just had this need to paint that scene, and the one that Calvin described. Remember when he ran up we were at the coffee shop, and he ran up just ranting about something.
I remember.
Really? Well, he ran up and he was blathering, and he blurted out. I wasn't paying any attention until he said something about a white sky with black stars, because that's the picture. There's also a lake, but there was not a yellow dude, but there was another pile of skulls, but so that's what got my attention, and he's kept talking about it. I'm surely you must have noticed.
I noticed.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like that maybe the answers are at the western facade of Notre Dame Cathedral, at the painting known as the last something.
Judgment.
The Last Judgment.
The Last Judgment.
It was, and he seemed to be really scared of it.
I'm having trouble hearing you.
And Siri is having a moment. So, I think we need to get Dorian.
Siri is
Sure.
Siri
It's
is
like
dripping with blood.
That would be nice. 9 times out of 10. So I think we need to get Dorian, and we need to go see what we can find out at the church. No one mentions the black figure dude with the eyes. Just gonna throw that out.
Yeah, I should probably share that, I guess. Like guys, I gotta tell you this. Like, it was weird. I feel kind of weird about saying it, but like, I was standing at the door before it all caught fire, and I saw it must have been like a stress vision or something, but it was a black figure, glowing yellow eyes, and then it looked like it went back into the back room, the door closed, and then everything caught fire. It was really weird. Yeah, like I was
You must be the smoke. It must be the inhalation of the smoke.
I mean, it would have been before the smoke, but yeah, like I saw something. It's so weird.
Oh, weird.
That doesn't make any sense.
But this thing is just creeped me out. Like, this is a lot going on. This is so weird.
It was dressed. It was a silhouette, or it was dressed in black.
It was just a silhouette, just a black. Couldn't really tell anything. Black with yellow eyes. That's all I saw. And then it floated away into the back room. The back door slammed, and
were there any windows in the rest of that apartment when we went?
Yes.
When I went back in through there. So whatever black figure that was, could have gotten out through a window in my mind, and a reasonable practical explanation. Sure. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Why not?
So I don't know. Like, So maybe whoever was telling Calvin stuff to get him down this path, maybe that was him, and he was covering up his tracks and starting the fire. Or
hey, do you still have that? Do you still have that necklace?
I've got a bracelet. I start feeling around in my pockets.
What I say necklace? I'm sorry. That bracelet. The weird light stones.
Yeah. So I'll pull the bracelet out and hand it over.
Ains, have you ever seen anything like this? This is what was in his pocket. He dropped this when we first got there.
Have I seen anything like this?
Never.
Dorian?
Sadly, it's not of my expertise.
Yates never wrote about curious black stones. Or...
Well, I did write about Furious Blackstone, but no those kind of things.
Maybe
more exotic African Blackstones, though.
What about at the Museum of Natural History? This is really strange, and I feel compelled to, if it's on the way, I feel like this may be connected in some way, right? This is really unusual.
It truly is. Also, the fact that Calvin had it also is quite unusual.
So do you guys mind if we stop off at the Museum of Natural History, which I'm sure exists?
Sure.
How much time has passed? Like, do we think?
I mean, it's late. It's evening.
It might be closed then.
It's evening. Okay.
Yeah. So if it's closed, do we want to like pick this up tomorrow? Like, go get some rest. Like, I mean, it's been a day, right? Like, cough up some black stuff.
Well, it's a good idea.
Yes, I think perhaps tackling it in the morning would be best.
A good night's sleep and maybe a hearty breakfast, and then we can set out.
Indeed. Though after a cup of wine, what do you say?
I would not say no to a cup of wine.
I'm just
as you guys make these. Yeah, as you guys make these plans and have decided to head to your apartments to retire for the evening, you're walking as a group down the avenue. Dorian, you look over and you can see retail businesses that have closed for the evening. You see the reflection of your troop of people, your friends, you and your friends walking. But
I turned my gaze away directly.
There was a fifth person kind of trailing behind your group that you did recognize.
I turn my gaze and focus on what's happening in front of me instead of...
All right. Okay, so it's the new day. It's a new dawn. What do you guys want to do?
Do I still feel unease?
You do still feel unease. You will be able to get rid of that after your next presence or focus test. In which case, that test will have a -1 penalty.
Gotcha. I assume we get together for breakfast or something, probably, or we gather at a friend gathering place. I don't know, like a coffee. Apparently, coffee's a thing.
Yep.
And I am going to sort of drive, because of my nervousness about all this. That we look into this, as soon as possible today. And then I'm going to suggest we split up to cover more ground.
Well, I had the idea of going to the museum and look into those small marble.
Yeah, I could come with you.
Perfect.
And then the architect student, Ainsley, and then Ainsley and Sandy could maybe go to the cathedral.
Yeah, okay, we could do that.
That sounds fine with me.
Might be some sweet sculptures there or something.
Some sweet sculptures.
That sculpture game is on point.
Is this a good time for our big game break?
We can.
All right, 5 minutes.
Anybody need a 5 minutes bio break?
Sounds great.
Breathe into a bag and calm down a bit.
Yeah.
All right, we'll be right back.
right, we are back. So, it is the dawn of a new day. Where do you guys want to go? So it sounds like two of you want to go to the Museum of Natural History, and two of you want to go to Notre Dame. Is that correct?
Correct.
All right. Let's begin with the Museum of Natural History. And so that was going to be, was that Dorian and Leigh?
Yep.
Okay. All right.
Yes.
All right. So you guys head out and go to the museum. And the Museum of Natural History is it's a fairly popular location. You know, not just with tourists, but also with students. You know, there's many art students who have classes or some kind of like internship at the museum. So as you get to the museum, Leigh, your natural negotiation ability allows you to get you're able to talk your way in so that you can speak to someone who might be able to answer questions about this stone. Right? You took the bracelet. You're going to inquire about the bracelet?
That's right. Yep. Yeah, so we'll go up and ask to speak to someone in materials. I don't know. She
Sure.
has more knowledge
Yeah.
than I do about what to ask for.
Yeah.
It's one of the curators in that department. You know.
Yep. So there are a couple of interns who are there to help you. So they're also Americans, but they are clearly they're part of like a natural history and with an emphasis on geology kind of studies. They introduce themselves as Martin Braith and Jenny Silverton. And they're like, what can we help you with?
Pleased to meet you. I've come into possession of a bracelet made of a curious stone, and we were hoping that you could help us identify it. I've never quite seen anything like it, and neither have any of my friends who have some knowledge of such things. Do you recognize this? And I hand them the bracelet.
And so Martin picks it up and looks at it first, and he's like, I don't know. I don't know. Light, porous. Is it some kind of igneous rock? I'm not sure. Doesn't seem. It looks like just souvenir trash you get from a vendor on the street. And he just kind of tosses it on the table. Jeannie picks it up and is looking at it, and Dorian, you're able to tell with your Bonheim skill that Jeannie sees something in this, in the way that she's kind of caressing it and touching it, and so she looks up at you and says, "What is this? Where did you get it?"
One of our, well, not friend, but a connaissance, was in possession of this, though he had to depart from it since he kind of lost his mind. So we were wondering what it was exactly and figure out what happened to him.
Did you steal this?
No, he actually gave it to us before he went cuckoo.
He dropped
I
it.
don't believe you.
He dropped it. It's a long story. Does it
Calvin?
matter? What's that?
Does this belong to Calvin?
Yes,
Oh, you know Calvin.
Yes. Where is he?
He is not.
Well, I
well
think
at
he is
all.
now at the hospital.
Hospital? What?
Okay.
It's a long
It's a
story.
long story.
I don't. What is going on here?
Okay. I'm gonna. We together can. I look at you, and I'm looking for the we're gonna tell the truth or we're gonna lie about it vibe, because I lean to tell the truth.
I'm also leaning toward the truth, but
Alright.
saying the truth and omitting some detail is
Such a speed cutting out
much.
his tongue. Yes, I'm gonna lead right. Yeah. So maybe we
Are
can
you
tell.
sure you don't want to start with that?
How does lead with that? Well, see, I cut off his tongue, and then now he's at the. Maybe together we'll tell the story and leaving out the really weird shit, right? Like
Don't
the
forget the
floating
body.
dude with the eyes and the visions. And we'll start with we met him at the coffee thing. He was ranting incoherently. We took him back to his place, which is not the place we thought he lived, and he collapsed. And he tried to kill. He tried to, that part, right? We tell all that.
He had also this sculpture of the cathedral, Notre Dame de Cathedral. And as my colleague were pondering upon them, I looked more inside of his apartment, and we found a gruesome discovery. I would say.
No. I don't believe this. I don't
I
believe
would
this.
not also. Had it not fallen upon me when I opened the door.
And
Yeah, I would let
you
that
can
out.
see she clutches at this bracelet and holds it to her chest and she said, No, Calvin would never do something like that. He would never be like that. Where is he? Where is he?
He was
the
not in his
hospital.
right mind.
I don't
apartment
understand.
caught
Where
fire.
is he? What
Well,
hospital?
Apartment caught
actually,
fire. The
when was the
police
last
fire
time?
came.
Yeah, but when was the last time you saw him?
3 weeks ago?
That's also where our friend Ensley also saw him last time. Then we saw him yesterday, and it was this rambling madman.
He is a sweet, sweet man. He loves the Notre Dame Church. He studies it intently.
Religiously at this point, I'd say.
Yes,
He
religiously.
seems to have become obsessed with the Western facade in this one painting. We were going to go over there today to see if we could figure out what's going on, but I thought we would come by and see if someone here could help identify these stones. Because you know Calvin, you recognize his bracelet, but you know what this material is.
It's not igneous rock, as she side-eyes her companion.
Yeah, I give you.
And,
I knew that too, Sugar. And that guy's an ass. Look, we girls
She
gotta
says,
sit
she
together.
looks at it and she goes, I do not know what this is. It's not rock. And she tosses it back on the table towards you guys to take it back. And she says, I have to go. And she puts an apron away and storms out of the room, and she's leaving.
Is that the look of a lover who her boyfriend ran away and didn't say anything, or because the girl knows,
Seems that way. Seems that way.
Dorian.
Yes.
I think we should follow her.
You wish to follow her?
She might know something.
Well, we have the early morning available. I do believe we can allow ourselves with a small stroll around.
All right.
John's like,
So you
really
guys
do
begin
need
to-
to get on with the adventure.
You guys do follow Jeannie Silverton. All right, moving the camera to Sandy and Ainsley as they go to Notre Dame. So on this day, it's a busy day. Daytime is always a busy time. Lots of tourists going through the quad. I feel like I'm gonna sneeze. There we go. Man, that's been building up for a while. All right. Oh, goodness. So, the Notre Dame is located in an area, I think, but it's called like Center Isle. So there's just like almost like an island unto itself of where it's at. And so it's a high tourist traffic area. And there's a few of the gardons, the constables that stroll around. There are some, you guys observe a few urchin kids kind of running through the quad as well, and the church is open for casual visitors. What would you guys like to do? And there is the western facade, the side that Calvin was so obsessed with. It has these wrought iron metal doors and the great painting, or the facade sculpture that depicts the Last Judgment.
Yeah, I want to admire the sculpture and like the way that they did all the cool stuff with it, and trying to look at it with a sculptor's eye.
Okay, excellent. With sculpture, so you're approaching the building, you're looking at the doors and everything, right? So through the art history and through your sculpture, you know that there's been a lot of renovation work going on with Notre Dame, and some of that still even goes on today. It's been, for the last 25 years, there's been just a major movement to renovate and bring back to its full glory the Notre Dame Church. And so, parts and pieces of it are being replaced and revitalized, as some stuff has just been vandalized over the, hundreds of years. And, other parts and pieces are just, being updated. So you can see that the doors have they have a wrought iron metalwork to them. But as you get up close in your sculpture ability, you can tell the difference that not all of this scrolling filigree wrought iron work, not all of it is wrought iron. You've been in possession of that necklace previously with like the polished stones on it, and actually there are portions of the wrought ironwork that have been removed and replaced with whatever that stone is from the bracelet, just larger pieces of it, and they've been shaped and fashioned to mimic wrought ironwork, and they seem to have been polished with some kind of oil of some type, so that it blends as best as it can. And probably for most individuals, who are unfamiliar with this type of art style, it does appear as wrought iron. But your sharp eye, you can tell the difference between this portion is whatever that bracelet stone is, and this portion here is wrought iron, and it's been married together, and there's lots of it that's been replaced.
Nice, Ainsley, come here. Look at this. See how this stuff is like normal wrought iron, and then this stuff looks like the stuff that was in the bracelet. So there's kind of a tie-in with that weird material from the bracelet. I can't tell what this is, but it's masterfully done. Like it's they like.
He must have been working on this.
Sorry, say that again.
He must have been working on the renovations.
Maybe, yeah.
That explains his obsession with the facades.
Yeah, but his talent is so low level. I can't imagine that he's responsible for this. That garbage paper mache stuff in his apartment, like
It's truly awful.
A child, ridiculous.
And you guys can hear the majestic organ for Notre Dame is sounding and playing from inside. It sounds as if it's right on top of you, because as you look up, you can actually see some of the pipes and stuff. You can see through some of the stained glass, and you can see the vertical piping and things. So you know the infamous Notre Dame organ is just on the other side of the western facade, and it's entertaining visitors. I'm sure there's not a full sermon is going on, but just something for people to enjoy throughout the day is going on inside the church. And of course it sounds outside, so people even just passing by can enjoy the music from the church.
I'd like to walk through the doors of the western facade just to kind of see if I get magically transported to some alternate dimension, or just
as
back and
as
forth.
you do.
Bold move, Cotton. Let's see if it pays off.
As you do.
More so just with an eye of like this is normal, right? Like there's nothing weird going on here.
No, nothing.
Architecture.
Yeah,
It's
all fine. It's all fine. Do you both go inside?
Yeah, I'll go.
All right. As you guys go inside, and the church, the organ is playing. Sandy, I need you to do a composure test for me, if you will. None of your current shock or injury cards are a penalty for you right now, so just tell me how many points you want to spend, if any, and roll the die.
I think I have a shock card, though.
The Witness to Carnage.
Yeah, you have a shock and you have an injury, but the text on them is not impacting your ability to roll this composure test. Like your dread is saying -1 to a presence or a focused test, which neither of those is composure. And your scarred lungs just did some injury points to you, but other than that, you're fine with that. So.
Okay, sorry, my bad. On my general, like my character sheet, the general abilities, it says composure and in parentheses presence. So I assumed that was impacted by that.
It is impacted by. You are right. Oh, you're right. Composure is a presence test. Sorry, I didn't put that together. You're right. It is a
teacher. You forgot to assign homework on a Friday.
Thank you. Thank you. You can go to the head of the class, Lance. Yeah, okay. Dick.
Let me double check. All right, so that's Richard to you, sir. All right.
All right. So you get a -1. So what that means is it's an increase on the. It's a -1 to your die roll, which I'll retranslate that by increasing the difficulty.
Okay. All right. So I'll spend 2 composure points to try to
2. Okay.
Yeah. All right. That's a 7.
All right. Nice. Well done. So you feel uneasy as you come in and you're hearing the music that's being played. And due to that music kind of sending a little bit of a shiver down your spine, you gain a new shock card.
Oh,
It is... Yeah, I know, right? Happy, happy, joy, joy.
Oh, after each such test, I need to roll a die, and if I roll an even, I need to trade my shock in. Is that right?
Right, and this was the first instance of that. So roll a die and tell me if you get odd or even.
Oh, great. It was on the side. All right, it's an odd.
Okay, so you won't trade it in yet. But you have just gained Music of the Night shock card. Die in here. Damn. All right.
Wow. Okay.
Music of the Night. My apologies. So sorry. Okay, Music of the Night. When you are about to fight the scenario's main foe, roll a die. On an odd result, -1 to your fighting until the end of the scenario. Discard on a fighting success against the scenario's main foe. So you got that going for you.
I'm like shocked and awed at this point, right? Like I've got a couple of shocks. I got an injury. Like I'm
Yeah. You are stepping up to volunteer all of the game mechanics in this game. I like it.
Great. Maybe I'll be the first to die too.
We salute you for your service.
So, as a reminder, you now are in possession of 2 shock cards. If you ever should gain a third, you will go insane. And basically, you're out, right?
Right.
Which
right. But,
might,
like, I
might
can
be
discard one in a fight if I roll a thing, right? And then I can discard the one for
trade it in.
Trade it in for something else, and then maybe that other thing I can discard at some point. So
right.
Hopefully something happens. We'll see.
Yep. So, and going insane might be a type of win. You don't know. All right. So yeah, as you guys go into, just ask Calvin. As you guys go into Notre Dame and you're hearing this music, it definitely sends a shiver down Sandy's spine, and Ainsley, you can see that Sandy, Ainsley, you can see that Sandy is visibly shaken by the music that is being played, and as it happens, the organist has just completed their piece. Now, the way the layout is the organ, because the interior of Notre Dame has these super high vaulted ceilings, right? But near this edge, near this western facade, there are 2 other tiers, 2 other layers, and so you do see it's not like it's hidden, but over there in the corner is a concealed stairwell that you could take, and you could go up to level 2, which is basically just like a platform, like a little balcony. And on that balcony, that's where the organ is, and that's where all the giant, organ piping goes up into the ceiling. And the organist is sitting up there, and is just completed a piece, and is heading for the stairs to come down. And then there's another balcony above the organ, and that balcony There's some, the piping from the organ, but also at that balcony, you could maybe do some maintenance on the giant Rosetta window that faces out outside. So interior wise, you could do some cleaning and maintenance of that window up at that upper balcony. And then down here on the ground floor, there's all the different pews, and there's different, stations and candle stations and all that kind of stuff inside of Notre Dame. And yeah, so there's a few people in here who are in silent prayer. There is a priest who's kind of coming down the way towards you guys, and of course the organist has just finished their piece and is going to be coming down as well. As far as tourism and stuff goes for Notre Dame, this seems pretty low key, pretty mild. It doesn't seem like there's a giant throng of people in here. So it's it's kind of low key, kind of cool. So what does Sandy and Ainsley do?
Sandy, are you doing okay? You got a little pale there.
That music just struck a nerve with me. I don't know. I'm not feeling so great.
Didn't really notice it. Are there any of the kind of restoration crews around that you can see?
Mm-mm.
Well, we're here. Now what?
Should we look around, or should we talk to a priest and see what?
You guys probably have a little bit of an odd presence about yourselves, like not sure what I need to do here. Kind of standing around. It's like being at a formal function. You're like, what do I do with my hands? Do I pocket them? Cross them? What am I supposed to do here? So you guys kind of have a little bit of a fish out of water kind of effect here.
Which was the soup fork? I can't remember.
Right?
There was that painting,
and so
right? Remember the painting, just as a hook.
Right.
And so the pastor, the priest in here is approaching, and you guys notice that he seems to be carrying himself with a bit of a limp. But he kind of comes up and he says, "Good morning to you. Welcome to Notre Dame. How can I help you?"
Oh, we were just visiting. A friend of ours was working on the re-beautification project and wanted to see how it was going.
And did either of you two get the assess honesty skill that was redistributed?
It's me who got it.
Okay, it's you.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's not relevant.
Not at all. He, the priest stands there and he says, "I'm sorry, say that again? The restoration?"
Well, yeah, he was interested in the architecture here. We're art students.
Oh, yes. When would he have done that restoration? It's been completed. Well, it completed last year.
Well, like I said, he was interested in it. I don't know if he was doing anything with it. We're not from here, so as you can tell by
Yes.
our outrageous
Yes.
American accents.
Outrageous American accents. Yes, well, I'm sure his craftsmanship is being admired by millions. We greatly appreciate all of those artisans who were able to contribute to the restoration of Notre Dame. Is there?
You said it. You said it finished about a year ago.
Yes.
Oh, oh, that Calvin. He's such a fooler. He tried to convince me he was still working on it. I'll have a talk with him. Liar.
And the priest, he seems to falter a little bit and smiles half-heartedly and says, "Yes. Well, that seems interesting."
Well, you know, men will say anything to women to get them to, well, do things. I'm big and important. I'm working on the cathedral. Ugh.
Oh yes, I suppose that is true. Um, please excuse me, and he begins to kind of hobble and limp quickly away.
Lean over to Sandy. The surest way to get rid of a priest is to start talking about sex.
That has not always been my experience.
Tell me more. Oh,
I didn't
so
know you were an altar boy.
So the organist has descended and has come out in and taken a seat in one of the pews. With Sandy, with your steal ability, you notice that as the organist is taking a seat in one of the pews and looking like he's about to consume himself in silent prayer, he does kind of, give a slight side eye to you guys, and then he probably saw you noticing him, and so he turns his head back and then goes and bows his head and goes into silent prayer.
You know that guy, Sandy?
I do not, but I did get a little bit of a vibe off of him. I don't know. Maybe we can talk to him after he's done praying. But,
Why wait?
Hey,
well, that too.
do either of you guys have a sense trouble ability?
Yeah, I've got a little bit of. I got 2 points in sense trouble.
Ainsley?
Same. 2 points.
Carry on.
Should we try to sense trouble? I'm getting a vibe that maybe there's something brewing here. What do you think?
Clearly something wrong with the priest.
Right. Got a hitch in his get along. I wonder what that's about.
I'll go tap the organist on the shoulder.
Okay.
Excuse me, I'm sorry to interrupt, but I happened to catch the last snatch of that last song that you were playing up on the organ, and I'm curious what it was. It was quite arresting.
Well, God moves in mysterious ways, and I'm glad that his message has touched you. And he puts his hands together to offer a silent prayer to you. As he puts his hands together, you can see that his hands are bandaged and they're slightly stained, stained with blood.
Oh dear! Did you suffer some great injury? That can't be good for a man of your profession.
And he looks very old and frail, and he says, "It is nothing. I was helping some of the poor unfortunate urchin children outside. It is fine."
By giving them blood.
Just showing them how to juggle razor blades.
So the song then was just it was something of your own creation. It's not a piece of music that you were playing. I admit that my knowledge of music is not that
And
thorough.
he mentions, a piece from the hymnal. Oh no, it was this.
Oh, well, that goes to show you what I know.
Perhaps you could spend some time praying with me, and you can learn.
I doubt it. Thanks for your time. We'll be on our way.
God, yeah, how can you resist a book like that?
Not going to spend time praying with a creepy old man with bloody hands.
What do you guys want to do?
Well, when you put it like that, I guess I'm kind of put off. I'll leave too.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, but narratively, right, in like a mystery where we know something's clearly not right. You wanna make them sort of do something to trip up, and then we can turn the tables and get information out of them or whatever. Like if this dude is really just going to teach you prayer, then great, he teaches you how to pray, and then that's over. But if he's really going to take you back into a back room and try to cut your throat,
Give you candy.
At least that tells you something, and you can maybe get out of it and then get information. I don't know.
Also, you might try to pray and actually not say the right prayer, those kind of things.
Yeah, I'm not sure if I want to go into a back room with them because I don't have any points in face down, ass up. I don't think I want to.
fair point.
Yeah, no, all right, yeah. Like I'll stay and like try to pray, but basically I'm just kind of I'm feeling a little wheezy. Like the lungs are kind of we got a little like so I'm just kind of taking a moment to relax and try to calm down and stuff
My son, are you unwell?
I pulled a person out of a fire yesterday, and I've got some smoke damage, I think. So yeah, my lungs are a little full of something. So I don't know.
Oh, you are clearly the instrument of God to have saved a life. That is very noble, very noble. Do you need healing?
Well, I mean, that would be cool. Are you a healer? Like,
God has granted me many gifts. I can heal.
okay. How would you heal me?
Come back to the church tonight at midnight. And I can
totally legitimate.
And then I feel a small prick, right?
And I can see that you will be granted the gift of pure health.
Oh, well, okay. What do I have to do between now and then? How do I prepare for this?
Repent your sins, and you will be pure and ready for the next chapter of your life.
I don't know if it'll work for me. I might need a couple more days. Like, can we push it out a couple of nights or something? Does it have to be tonight?
Why would you put off what could be done today?
I mean, I've got a lot to repent for. That's all I'm saying.
God will forgive you. Have faith.
I'm gonna give this kind of like I don't know, like what do I do here? Like I kind of want to go. I kind of want to want to stay and see where this goes, but I'm weirded out. Like, kind of look at Ainsley, like. Angel's like, yeah, fuck it, I don't know, go for it.
Yeah, let's
You
let's do
know,
it.
God speaks to me through the organ.
Really? What's he
The
saying?
music unfolds. He has spoken to me, and he has said that soon the gates of last judgment shall open, and all who have repented will be welcomed into the new heaven.
The new heaven? Is there a different heaven now?
It is a beautiful land with a bright white sky filled with black stars and a endless lake below.
Interesting. I feel like I've heard that somewhere else recently.
Oh.
You've heard the good word.
My friend Calvin, I think, mentioned something to me about that. Do you know Calvin?
And he wants to lean in very close to you.
All right, I'll go.
He comes up to your ear. He comes up to your ear and he says, "Have you seen the yellow sign? I need you to make a composure test."
Fuck!
All right, guys, I'm going insane right here. This is gonna suck.
This is.
How much
You
are you
know,
spending?
I should have talked to the creepy old organist with the bloody hands, I guess.
I think perhaps you should have. Like, but when you're dumb, you got to be tough. So, like, here's. Oh man! All right, my last 2 points of composure I'm putting into this, I guess. So.
Okay.
You got this.
Sucks as I get the shot cards even when I win.
And you're
I'm
getting
sure it's
you're
more
getting
alternative.
you're getting the minor shot cards.
Oh. All right, 7.
Excellent. Well done.
Pretty fucking good. Oh, I got to try to discard the shot, right?
Yeah, well, so you have gained your 3rd shot card.
Okay.
So because of that, you're going to go insane. So you would have gained unease from this, which is what you could have, downgraded to from dread, but you've gained unease through a whole other avenue. As he comes and says, "Have you seen the yellow sign?" There's something that just kind of passes through you, and you have a vision of Carcosa. Okay? And on that vision, you can see it's almost like you're detached from yourself, because you see a vision of yourself on the beach, and something has reached up out of this black lake of holly, and you just know that it's called holly. And there you can see in the distance on the other side of the lake the silhouette of the city of Carcosa. And there are buildings on fire in the city. There's smoke rising from the city, and the smoke is starting to kind of obscure some of the black stars in the white sky. But something with tentacles has reached out from the lake and is curled around your legs, and you're watching yourself being pulled, screaming and clawing at the sand as you're just being pulled into the lake. And you just kind of disappear under the surface of the black lake of holly, and the water just goes still.
Holy
And
fucking
as you
shit!
kind of
That was a victory.
As you kind of come out of that of that vision, Sandy Van Steen is basically catatonic, And Ainsley, you watch as the old man with the bandaged hands whispered something to Sandy, and as he did that, the old man, kind of, nodded his head and bid Sandy adieu. And so Sandy stands up and is just kind of shuffling down the pew to return to the aisle with you. And you can just see that he's completely lost control of his bladder, and he's just wet himself, and he stands there in soaked pants and slack mouthed, and just his eyes are crossed and looking up into his head as he just stands there like a zombie.
Sandy, kind of tap the cheeks. What did he say to you? What did he say? What did he say?
Sandy is not able to be. Sandy is unresponsive, and you will end up taking him away from here to go to a hospital where he will spend the rest of his life.
Brilliant.
Lance, on the other hand, is going to get a new character.
Oh, sweet.
So let's give you.
I feel like I failed Sandy. Should have just prayed with the old man.
And maybe taking one for the team. Maybe. I don't know. I also could have thought, you know what? Maybe I should just walk away. I should have. You got to remember, I got 2 strikes. I don't want to take that 3rd one.
Hey, nobody's at fault here. All right,
but now I am. Now I definitely know that something's up with the creepy old organist man. So I'm planning on gathering my allies and coming back at midnight for some real throwdown shit.
All right, so Lance, check your email. You've got a new character.
For some healing.
Okay.
Leslie Gibson, a portrait painter, is one of y'all's super close friends, and as Dorian and Leigh follow the woman from the museum, she made a beeline for the hospital, and it clearly has gone in and is checking in on Calvin. In the course of following her, you have caught up with Leslie Gibson. And Leslie's been wondering, what have you guys been up to? What's going on?
Oh, Les.
Oh, hey, Lindsay.
Do you remember? Do you remember?
Calvin?
Calvin, I can probably was Les. Calvin Leigh, the architect student. Maybe you didn't know him.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, he went. We thought he went back, right? He disappeared. We thought he went back home, but turns out he's still here, and he's nuts. He's some kind of trauma. Something happened. He's cracked his mind, and we were taking him back to his flat, and it caught fire. And anyway, so that's where we're in the hospital, or he's in the hospital now, and well, it's a long story, right? But something's not quite square, and we're following his girlfriend, Jeannie Silverton, just to see if maybe she knows something. But it looks like she's going to the hospital, like a concerned girlfriend. You want to tag along?
Hell yes, let's do it.
All right.
I was hoping that's what you said.
Ainsley, you have escorted Sandy out, and you've gotten him committed to an asylum. And so that afternoon, you're able to reconnect with Leigh and Dorian and Leslie. Leslie, she must have canceled her plans, and now she's with Leigh and Dorian. And so all of you guys have caught up to now find out about where is Sandy.
Look, there was this creepy old organist at the cathedral, and he said something to Sandy, and then he walked away, and the next thing I know, Sandy's gone cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, and I overheard something about the organist wanting Sandy to come back at midnight to the cathedral, so I think that whatever was going on here, now that's two people we know that have gone crazy dealing with this stupid cathedral. So I say we go back there tonight at midnight and find out what's going on.
I agree. It's pretty strange.
Midnight specifically? All right.
I just said that's what I heard.
All right. Well, poor Sandy. I just don't
feel
know what's
awful.
going on. It's just so hard to believe. All this is happening so soon, fast.
And you say the man simply came and told him something, whispered, and he went. He lost it?
He was playing some music on the organ, and that seemed to set Sandy off a little bit. And so I started talking to him about it, and then he was super creepy, and I didn't want to be around him, so I left. But Sandy, big, strong Sandy, would not be deterred. So he sat down, and then next thing I know,
He brought this upon himself.
creepy organ guy. No, I did this. It's my mess to fix. Now I
Well,
we need to see this through.
When you were there, what about that painting they talked about, or anything about the facade?
The only thing that the only information I was able to figure out was that the stone in the bracelet that Calvin had was also in the that one was also in that painting, in that mural.
What?
It was
the wrought ironwork of the doors has been replaced with bits of stone that match the bracelet.
The doors into the cathedral.
Yeah, the doors by that.
The
that
decorative
drawing.
doors. Yep. The doors to judgment.
Well, that is bizarre.
And we were. I was looking at the doors, going in and out just to see if there was anything strange about them. That's when we heard the organ music. One thing led to another. Next thing I know, Sandy's going to the asylum. So.
I might not be the greatest artisan in Paris, that's for sure. But removing iron and adding new one, which isn't iron, will make a lot of noise. So either the church itself is aware of it,
They must have
or
done they must have done it as part of the restoration work over the last, whatever months, years, or whatever they've been doing. Remember the restoration article we read in the paper, or whatever.
For the last 25 years, there's been major renovations going on because the church was in major disrepair.
So this could have happened
after the revolution.
It could have happened a long time ago, or over time.
Could have.
Indeed.
2 weeks ago.
And you only met the organist?
Well, I also briefly interacted with the priest there, but he
Also
seemed
creepy.
also creepy. There's a lot of creepy people there. I don't know. Maybe I'm just put off by organized religion in general.
Maybe.
Wow. Well, I think
He seemed completely on the up and up, though. I didn't sense any sort of lie or danger.
So the new lady is Leslie. Is that what you said?
Yes,
Yeah.
Leslie Gibson.
Leslie Gibson.
She's a portrait painter.
Apparently oblivious to danger. So, all right. So you've had a friend go crazy, and then another friend go crazy, and there was a fire, and now there's creepy church people. My
Yeah, you're
gosh,
basically
I wish
caught
I
up.
would have ran into you guys yesterday. I've been so bored. I would. Oh, missed opportunities all around.
I should have been there when we have our coffee. We had a magnificent discussion about the new play that I saw at the Moulin Rouge.
Nice.
Have you seen a can? Do you know what a can is?
I have not seen a can.
Well, if we make it out of this alive, I think we should go to see the can.
Okay.
I'm not sure if it will be to these ladies' taste, but I'm sure to all the others might be.
I don't know how we can think about this after everything that's happened. So midnight tonight at the cathedral, at the western facade.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I think that we should be armed.
I've got two right here. Like, what do you mean?
With like
Do you
I don't know.
do you have access to a pistol, revolvers?
No.
Oh.
But
Then what?
I don't know.
I'll go grab a pipe then.
Dorian, go find us something.
Yes.
Maybe a fireplace poker.
So it would be easy to find clubbing and stabbing implements. Guns would be much more difficult.
There was a knife back at the apartment. I guess it's burned though. Like a kitchen knife,
Well,
right? I mean, that, you know.
Yeah. So do you guys want to wait to midnight, or what do you guys want to do between now and then, if anything?
I don't.
Let's go see the can before. Like, we can see the can and then we can go.
you wish to reward yourself before doing the
I don't
deed.
think the can
Ooh.
is on during the day, although I could be wrong.
It's more
no.
an evening thing.
Yeah. It's in the cabaret at night.
I believe that Leigh does not want to wait until night, but will, if that's the plan, and getting some weapons, I think, would take some time, and I don't know what any other research would make sense, you know.
Because clubs and knives are easy to get, you just have to tell me if you want to have a club or a knife.
Knife.
Yeah, I'll have a club.
Ainsley will grab a club.
Leslie will take a knife.
If I may, maybe not the knives. We do not intend to kill anyone. With a club, at least you can knock them out.
Yep.
Oh. I've had a couple of friends go crazy though, right? Like, there's bad stuff happening. You said there was a dead body that had organs removed and stuff.
Yes,
Maybe-
there was a dead body.
So, I mean,
Okay, fine. I'll bring a cricket bat. How about that? I'm sure we can find a lacrosse stick or something.
Absolutely.
I support your use of a knife, Leslie.
yeah, I'm just a woman. I don't have the strength, and Sandy was so big, and he's gone crazy. Like, I don't know. I'm just, yeah, you know, whatever.
So,
So-
backing up just a second. So, time-wise, it has occurred to me that I do have a hard stop. I actually do have a hard stop.
Okay, we'll stop at 6.
A little before 6, I will need to go, and if I am nutsoed anyway, then I can maybe, you know, slink away or whatever.
Yep.
But
Nope, we'll be all right. I've been checking the time. I think we're going to be okay.
Okay.
So, do you guys want to just stay here in your safe apartment and go out at midnight, or do you want to go early? What do you want to do?
Let's go eat and drink and be merry.
I agree with this statement.
For the night we die.
yeah, but there's just been I'm really not at ease.
That's why we need to drink.
I don't think I can. You guys go on. I'll be I'll be back at the apartment with Mr. Glowy Eyes.
Mr. Glowy Eyes.
Those.
So you guys followed like Jeannie, and then she went to the hospital, and
stayed with Calvin the whole time.
She is true.
True dead end investigation.
All right.
Alright.
Midnight.
So you don't go early, you go right at midnight, or you go to be there at midnight. Yes? Yes?
Be there at midnight.
I think so.
All right. Fantastic.
Are three of us drunk and one of us not, or like what's the deal? Do we go?
Maybe not drunk, but tipsy for sure.
Oh, for really?
All right.
I bet Sandy wishes he'd have had another drink.
Well,
Awesome. Okay, so you guys arrive to the church, and this neighborhood is pretty quiet at night. You observe through officialdom that there is a police presence around and about, but it's not like they're on guard. So the patrolman, kind of wanders through, hangs around for a little bit, and then continues to wander on to go and check out the next, zone of his beat and all that stuff. So at around midnight, you can see that the police officer has moved on. But it is impossible to tell on whether or not there are others around, or if he might be coming back or anything like that. Do you guys want to, are you concerned about stealth? Or as soon as he leaves, do you just want to walk across the quad and try the door?
For Leigh's part, I'm not sure what she would expect. We were told to come here at midnight to meet a priest, and that's a reasonable story to tell a cop, or at least put out there and let the cop say, no, that's not the way this works, and then tell us to go away. But I would just walk up to the cathedral's west facade and see what that gets us.
Okay.
Yeah. Same for Ainsley.
All right.
Hiding the club inside of a coat.
Don't mind my trench coat. Awesome. So you cross the quad, and you try the door, and the door is unlocked.
Go figure.
All right. So, entree.
Vous, s'il vous plaît.
All right. All right. So you guys enter into Notre Dame, and it is eerie how quiet it is in here.
See, I'm actually a little relieved.
Got all there's all the pews and the different stations here at ground level, and you have to enter in a little bit before you can turn around and look up to the organ platform, the organ balcony, to see who or what may be up there. And from that view, you can see like the top of that giant Rosetta stained glass window, kind of crowning above the pipe organ, the pipes that are vertical above the organ. So it's a very cool sight, and night lights kind of shining through the stained glass. You look up there and you don't see anyone right now. You just see the organ up there. What do y'all do?
I think we should go toward the stairs to go one floor above.
Hello?
Yeah.
Okay.
Marco.
Oh, no.
Leigh calls out. No one answers. Dorian's like, we should go up those stairs. Leslie, Ainsley, what do y'all think?
Yeah, let's go up the stairs. It's a church. What's the worst that could happen here?
That's what I'm saying.
They're just gonna lie
Yeah,
about
actually, that's a
their
very loaded
imagination.
All right, we
Yeah.
head up.
All right. All right. So you guys go up this like tucked away little stairwell, and it's a wrought iron corkscrew, kind of spiral staircase. So you go up one level, and you're at the platform with the organ. So if you wanted to, you could exit and go out onto that balcony and check out the organ. You can continue up the spiral to go up to the window maintenance level up there, if that's what you choose to do. What would you like to do?
Well, since we are still inside the stairwell, do we hear any noise coming from above?
All right. Give me a sense trouble test.
3.
You do hear something moving upstairs, up on that other maintenance platform, maintenance balcony up above.
I look at everyone else. I do this, pointing to above myself and saying to remain quiet.
Remain quiet. We just trumped up in here.
We were invited to be here, right?
And I start slowly moving upward.
Okay. So
Be careful, Dorian.
Dorian is heading up. Is anybody going with Dorian?
Yeah. I'll.
Okay. Ainsley's
I'll go.
going with Dorian. Leigh, Leslie.
What are our? How many people? This is just another level, and we could all easily just say we go up the spiral staircase and we're there.
Yeah. I mean, it's a maintenance platform. It could probably hold 25 people.
Okay.
Doing maintenance on the organ pipes or on the stained glass window.
I tell you what, I'm going to stay here and I'm going to look at the stained glass and I'm going to try to see if there's a pattern that I may have seen before or something like that.
Okay. All right. Awesome. So Ainsley and Leslie are going with Dorian up, or is Leslie staying with Leigh?
I'll stay with Leigh.
Okay. So Ainsley and Dorian continue up the spiral staircase to go to the third level. Leigh and Leslie stay there on the organ level. Leigh is staring at the stained glass window, trying to see if she can identify or recognize a pattern in it that might be hidden. Is that something Leslie's also doing, or is Leslie checking out the organ itself, or looking out into the pews down below? What up?
Leslie wants to go look at the organ and see if there's anything interesting about it.
Okay. Fantastic. So, Leslie's at the organ. Leigh is positioned to look up and start studying the stained glass.
The organ is covered in these sucker sucker hole things. Anyway.
droplets of blood from Mr. like Scissorhands or whatever that had been playing the organ earlier.
Leigh, you can give me a composure test, and due to your unease, which it says your next presence test, which is composure, it'll have a -1 penalty. So what I'll do is I will increase the difficulty by 1, and then this gets discarded right after that.
So we had talked about the idea of resetting the use of these points, and I don't know if that is something that has happened or it's not happened.
That has not. Yeah, you guys haven't done anything yet to warrant getting a refresh yet.
Okay, all right.
So sorry.
Okay, got it. So this is a composure test at a -1.
Which I'm adjusting, so you won't subtract it on your die.
Okay. I'm going to spend the 2 points I have remaining on this.
Okay.
5 on the die, plus 2 makes it 7. But what about the penalty? Not the penalty.
Don't subtract on your die. It says a -1 on your penalty, for your penalty. But what I'm going to do, instead of doing a -1 on your die, I did a +1 on the difficulty.
Gotcha.
So I changed the difficulty.
7 is the result.
Yeah. 7 is an excellent response. So you lose the die or the card. It's gone. Yeah, you're looking at the stained glass, and you are seeing images in the stained glass beginning to shift and move around as if the stained glass is reorganizing itself, which awards you with another version of unease. So you just got rid of it, but it came right back. Leslie, as you go and sit at the organ, you're looking at the organ, and you can see the brass pipes, for the organ.
Yeah.
Now that you're this close to them and you're really looking at them, you can see that there is almost like veining. There is metal, or what looks like metal, applied to the organ pipes, and it's just kind of like veins kind of threading and going and covering the pipes. And as you look at them, it looks like it's the exact same material that the others were talking about, that weird black stone, but instead of it being polished to a stone color, this has been polished to a brass color, so it blends in with the pipes. But you can see that this organ, it's almost as if it's an infection. The threading of this weird, bone or stone or whatever it is that is spread all over the organ. So that's what you guys discover down here at the organ balcony level. For Dorian and Ainsley, you guys went up to the 3rd level, the maintenance level, and you have the organ pipes on your left, and you've got stained glass window, the upper portion of it, because it's a big round, Rosetta window. You've got the upper half of it on your right. So you don't really have a fear of falling, because unless you go shattering through the window, right? The pipe organ pipes are high enough that they kind of act as a wall, so you can't see down to the organist himself because the pipes are in the way. But while that you're up here, you can also see that there's some weird threading, some kind of veining on the brass pipes. As you guys come out onto the platform and you're looking around, Dorian was positive that he heard something moving around, and as you look up at the opposite end, which is fairly shadowed, but at the opposite end of the platform that you're on, something is moving in the shadows, and it begins to come forward towards you guys, and it looks like a gargoyle come to life, and you see just this image of a creature coming at you. See an image of a creature coming at you on the platform, and it's all black. It's all, like it's made of onyx, and it's got, big ears and yellow eyes and fangs and clawed hands and a horn on its head, and it's pretty scary. Okay, so the other two characters it's not conceivable that they would be eligible for this fight. So Leslie and Leigh, they don't have a stake in this fight. So we're just looking at Dorian and Ainsley. Do either one of you just simply not want to participate in the fight?
No, I think we are both in.
Yeah.
Both in. Are both of you going to be fighting, or does one of you want to support the other in some fashion? And you can just kind of roleplay and tell me what you want to do.
I'm ready to jump into a fight.
Yeah, same for me.
All right. So then, what do you think would be a reasonable outcome for this fight as you're facing off with this monster? Do you want to try and kill the monster? Do you want to try and render it helpless? Do you want to try and get it to surrender to you, if it even has that motivation? Do you want to just beat it up and leave it, crying for its mama? Do you want to use the combat to block it from moving anywhere, prevent it from escaping or something? Do you want to try and drive it away, maybe force it to leap out that window and fly away? Do you yourselves want to escape? Is that your goal for this fight? Is screw this thing, we want to run away? Do you want to escape with it as your captive? It's not holding anything, so gaining an item doesn't really seem as an issue here. Do you want to just try and bum rush it and get past it? Like maybe it's guarding something, you want to get past it? Or do you want to try and topple it over, which it's not really on a precipice? So, what is the goal of this fight?
I think for Dorian it would be to kill it. Because it's a threat to us and most likely to anyone else that would try to come in.
Uh-huh.
And it definitely looks like a monster, not like just a person in a weird suit.
Yep, it definitely looks like a monster, not a person. Okay.
But would
so kill. Yeah, kill. Kill's a very viable target or difficulty. So let us go with kill. All right, so now how many points of fighting do you want to spend each? This will determine your initiative.
I'll go with 3.
I'll go with 1, so I have some to spend.
Okay. All right. So starting with Dorian, roll 1d6 and add the 3 points that you spent. And let's see how you do.
6, so 9.
Damn. All right. Well done.
I don't have the same luck as yesterday.
All right. Ainsley, you spent 1 point. Roll a d6, add your 1 point, and tell me how you do.
4.
Grand total of 4?
Yes.
All right. Okay. So Dorian, your attack was full of bravo and seemed to be quite effective. So tell me what you did in your attack.
Did it come toward us, or did we move toward it? By the way.
Both. You guys clashed.
Okay. As we came to it, I lean to the side and with my steel pipe, I knock it. I hit it behind the neck, or what I assume there is a neck.
All right, excellent. Yeah, you do that, and as you smash it like that, you can see chips of like stone break off from it. You know, just it kind of cracked and shattered a bit. Ainsley, what was your intention?
I'm gonna go for its knee. I've got one of Sandy's sculpting hammers that I grabbed from his stuff, so I'm trying to swing at his knee and kind of take out his legs.
For Sandy.
All right, that is you.
For
Sandy. You definitely attempted to do that, but the creature was much faster than you, and so as you were kind of going low for its legs, that leg, the knee, popped and extended, and it kicked you solidly in the chest and sent you the hammer out of your hand, and you went sliding across the floor and banged up against the wall. So at the conclusion of this fight, so it was a successful fight. So Dorian, your smash on its neck, you ended up causing some deeper cracks than what it looked like, and the creature shatters. There is a toll of 2 on this. So, Dorian, you need to pay 2 points. Do you want to pay from fighting? You can pay from any of these: fighting, health, or athletics. But you have to reduce any combination of those. A grand total of 2 points need to come out, not from each, but
yeah.
Grand total.
Yeah, I'll remove one of athletic and one from health.
Okay, and since you paid the toll, you will not receive a injury card. On the other hand, Ainsley failed to have a successful attack. Your failure was at a margin of a -1, so you were just 1 point away from having success. So because your margin was a -1, you have an injury card that you've received called Micro Scratch. So let me find Micro Scratch and get that to you. All right, Micro Scratch. You have a -1 to physical tests. A failure with a margin of 2 or more shatters the affected body part. This becomes a continuity tag. Discard at the end of the next interval. If not a continuity card, discard if using a micro solve or an antidote you can gain through investigation during the current scenario. So when you got kicked, a portion of your abdomen is converting into obsidian glass.
Cool.
And it's really difficult for you to breathe and to bend at the waist from where he kicked you. He seems to want to like crumble and crack a bit. But Dorian's blow was a mighty blow, and it shattered the creature. At that moment, as soon as it shatters, Leslie hears a gasp from her left out of the dark shadows, and out steps the old man with his bandaged hands, and he comes shuffling quickly towards the organ. So in this case, it's reversed, where Dorian and Ainsley are not available for this fight, so their absence will not be a penalty. Leigh and Leslie, do either of you wish to opt out of this fight and not participate?
I'm in. Shit got real.
I'm in.
We saw that.
Shit got real. All right. So you're both in. So let me mark this here. Lee and Leslie. Okay. So if you're both fighting, and right, you're both fighting, you're not one is going to support the other, you both want to fight. Okay. So if you're both fighting,
Yeah. What's the difference, though? I mean, if one supports the other, they get more dice, or what's the difference?
they would not. The difference would be that they wouldn't be having an opportunity to injure the opponent. So you're putting the onus on your partners to injure the opponent.
So probably 2 attacks is better. I don't know. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, having more attacks is always better. But sometimes your friends might be frail as they're going into a fight, and you might want to kind of support them so they don't die in the fight.
Gotcha. Okay, we're both in pretty good shape.
Yeah, I think so too. So how many points from fighting do you each want to spend in this fight?
Well, I only have 2 points, so it would be that. All 2 points.
All right, Leslie?
I'll meet the 2 points also.
2 points for each. And what is the ultimate goal for this fight? It's an old man with bandaged hands. He's shuffling towards the organ. Do you want to kill him, render him helpless, gain his surrender, beat him up, block him, drive him away? Do you guys want to escape? You want to take him as a captive?
My goal, Lee's goal, is to gain surrender from this person.
So
Leslie?
if we gain surrender, does that mean that we can like kind of interrogate him?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, yeah, let's do that.
All right, so gaining his surrender. Hold on. Where did he go? They don't have all the bad guys centralized in one location. I gotta find them. Okay. So you want to get him to surrender. All right. Okay. So you're each spending 2. So let's see here. Leslie, your fighting is normally a 6. And Lee, your fighting is also normally a 6. Okay, that didn't break that tie. So it doesn't matter. We'll go with Lee first. So Lee, roll a die and add your 2 points.
I got a 6. For a second, I thought I might have been a 1.
You got a 6.
6 plus the 2 makes 8.
All right. Oh, you got an 8 total. Oh, okay.
Right.
All right.
I rolled that on my Can'tCon die. I would like everyone to take note and to come to Can'tCon this summer. Get your Can'tCon dice.
There you go. All right. Leslie, roll a die, add your 2 points. Tell me what you get.
7.
You guys are just really, really tough. Okay. Leslie, what did you do to try and subdue this guy to get him to surrender?
Well, I brought a knife against, solid advice. So I'm slashing and wanting to do, harm, but maybe not like slit his throat or whatever, right? Like I want to cut him like across the torso or something so that he's hurt, but not an artery or something, right? Like I want to do, something where there's blood and it's gonna freak him out and maybe take the starch out of his cells, right?
Okay. And Leigh?
So I've got a club. So this is a stick or a bat or I don't know what, and a broom handle. Don't know what it is. And I'm just clocking this old dude across the face.
All right. Yeah. So you both do that. You both were very successful. Leslie, you tear away some of his loose-fitting clothing, and you expose his upper torso. It's just his clothing just kind of tore away with that knife. And then Leigh, clobbered him, and he goes down to the ground. And once you can see some of his skin, you can see he's got major patches of skin that have been turned into onyx, black glass onyx. He does have a toll of 1, so each of you need to spend 1 point and take it away either from fighting, health, or athletics. Or if you choose not to pay the toll, you will earn a minor injury.
I'll take it off of athletics.
Okay.
Likewise.
All right. So no injury is taken. All right. So yeah, you subdue him, and he crumples to the ground. And he just kind of, one eye is looking up at you guys, and he's like, "Heavens will open." But you have subdued him.
What'd you do with our friends?
They have been chosen by God to be instruments.
Instruments of what? Who?
Instruments of change, of mighty change. And the old man stands up, and he has his hands in the air.
The hell
He's
he
like,
does.
God will come. You will see. And you can see he kind of backs up to the low railing that overlooks to the pews below, and he kind of stumbles and topples as he backs up into the railing. The railing breaks, and he falls down. And as his body hits the pews, he shatters like glass, and just bits and pieces of the old man just scatter all over the floor of Notre Dame.
That's gonna be.
Can I turn around to the organ and go dun dun dun?
That janitor is going to have a real surprise in the morning. So,
holy shit. As this unfolds, you see the priest who was leaning down, limping earlier this day. He's down there, and he goes, "Oh, come down here. Who is that? Come down here."
Okay. Guys. And we go now.
I'm going to Ainsley and seeing her condition since she got hit with the obsidian thing.
Yeah, Ainsley, part of her abdomen has turned into onyx, and yeah, it doesn't look good.
I always wanted washboard abs. Yeah, I have a feeling Ainsley's probably freaking the fuck out over that. So
yeah. So you guys come downstairs and you meet with the priest, and he basically lays it out. He's like, he's been frightened. He knew that some kind of change was happening with Cabot, the organist, and he's been praying for for God to give him the strength to put an end to whatever was going on. He knew that Cabot was behind some odd updates and changes that were happening to the facade of Notre Dame. He didn't understand what the changes were for. Did they have a purpose? And it's been a conundrum. And it wasn't until recently he learned about the demons that he was communing with, and he's just been trying to get the strength to confront Cabot and put an end to his wicked ways. And so he was quite happy that that God sent you, the four of you, to come and intervene where he did not have the strength to do so.
Is he still limping?
He's still limping, and so he shows you that that part of his leg has been turned into obsidian glass, and he says, "I'm afraid that there is no cure, none that I am aware of."
How did that happen?
Cabot, I think, suspected that I was onto him and sent a creature, one of his demons, to attack me, but I was able to escape.
Is
but
this the
not
guy
cleanly.
that said, "Come back at midnight and we'll pray," or was that the organist?
No, that's the organist.
Cabot, the organist,
Okay, I
said,
think
"Come
I
back
got
at
it.
midnight."
Yeah, okay.
But that's the guy that was a bit weird when Ashley and what's his name? Shit.
Randy.
Anyway. Huh?
Yeah, when
Yeah.
Sandy and Ainsley.
Sandy's forgettable.
Yeah. Well, when both of them spoke about Calvin, he was weird about it.
Yeah.
So he knows about Calvin.
He did know. Well, he knew that someone was doing. He just didn't know who it was, because Cabot was, doing all of this, and he felt bad that it must have been one of your friends. The priest felt very bad, and he's very sorry that you've had to pay the kind of price that you've had to pay, because he was too weak to put an end and stop Cabot sooner.
I don't know if you really had a choice. I think there's something with the place. I think it's more than just Cabot and his demon that he brought in. There was something that I saw in the stained glass, and our friend said there was something odd about the wrought iron, that it had been replaced with a strange material. I honestly think you need to have someone come and take a look at this. And
Indeed, we shall have new repairs made and fix all that Cabot has wrought.
And I would like a chance to sense trouble on this dude.
Go ahead.
I'm going to spend my 1, which gives me a result of 2.
He seems totally on the up and up to you.
All right, well, that's good enough.
And anyone who has the assess honesty skill, which it's investigative, doesn't need to be rolled, he does seem on the up and up. So
Okay.
we have reached the conclusion. You have stopped the influence of Carcosa in converting Notre Dame into a nexus point to grab and gobble up as many people as possible.
Oh my gosh.
The American way, with a baseball bat.
Right.
Yeah.
Violence.
What would the French way be? We would
The justice of violence.
woo him with poetry.
It's surrender,
or what?
right? It's not a good
No.
joke.
Yes.
Did you guys have fun?
Yeah, no, that
Yes,
was a blast.
absolutely.
Thank you very much. And this system,
Awesome.
there's a lot to decompress on this system. There's a lot here to like. This combat thing really abstracts the whole thing into a quick. I mean, these are great choices too, great outcomes, and a lot to like about that.
Yeah. I think so too. There's been a lot to like, and I'm like, man, I can't wait to get this to the table and try it out. So this was my very first run of Yellow King, and I think it went okay. I feel like it needs more time. I think 4 hours is probably not quite enough time.
It never
but
is.
I did what I could. I did what I could, and I compressed it in a way that hopefully felt seamlessly to you guys, and that you guys would still have a good time, and you still got to fight a monster and a human monster, and
And we got
So how do
And
we
I-
earn the points back? That, like you said, that we hadn't done it enough to earn something back. So how do you do enough to earn stuff back?
normally it's being successful in a fight, but the fight with Calvin was it wasn't a big enough fight. It was a very penny ante. Calvin was a real pushover, right? He didn't have he had a 0 toll, and all of his difficulty levels, even if you were going to try and kill him, it would have been a cakewalk, right? Super easy. He's a pushover. So there's no reward for refreshes of any of your spent points with him. But there were other avenues that you could have done some investigations on. Like if you had gone to stake out Notre Dame before midnight and just kind of watch it over, there is a corrupt police officer that you could have interacted with and maybe had a fight, and maybe with a fight with him, you could have earned some refresh points. There are some urchin kids who also had unfortunate interface with the monster is called a miker, and they had an unfortunate interface with the miker. So one of these kids, he's almost now like an oracle of Delphi, and so you could he might become kind of possessed by his injuries and try and fight you. And if you defeat him through subduing him, not killing him, there's an opportunity for refresh, by kind of helping him. So there were areas that we just didn't get to because we were running out of time, and the investigation to the Museum of Natural History, that's not in the book. That was completely, you guys went off script on that, but I just simply moved other clues, and I said, okay, now these two characters, instead of meeting them at a bar, you're going to meet them at the museum. And I put those two characters at the museum, and then she still did the same thing that happens with Calvin's hurt, and then she goes to the hospital and stays there the whole time. She's, basically a dead end. But yeah, you guys did a lot of investigation, not as much fighting until the end of the scenario. So, but I really was kind of pleased with how the card system worked out. Where you get this card and this card, and how it applies. And I wasn't expecting anybody to get 3 of anything. But Sandy just like ramming up that. I'm like, well, I go, thank God we have other characters. I said, hey, Leslie's joining the party. Lance, here's your other character,
Yeah, took the thrill seeker thing a little too aggressive, I guess. Maybe, I don't know.
But I feel like we have hit the time right for Brad and for Gabriel to have their follow-up stuff. So I hope you guys all had a fantastic time. And I hope people watching this are encouraged to go and try the Yellow King role-playing game.
Yeah, it was fun. I liked it.
Very good. All right. Thank you, John. It was great having you this weekend. Thank you, guys. It was a fun game.
Yeah, thank you for playing.
We will
Appreciate
see
it,
you
guys.
soon.